Press start.
All right, so Kyle, happy birthday. Who's Derek? I think you're the elder statesman on the podcast, right?
Elder statesman.
Yeah.
And then I think I'm the second oldest. I just don't know between Dan and Jeff. I think Dan, are you a little older than Jeff, or is Jeff a little? I don't know.
I'm 36.
I'm 36 as well, but I think
Who's gonna turn 37?
I think he's
first?
younger. I think he turned 36.
I'm 24, so I'm
24. Thanks, Kyle.
Oh, that's
24.
cute. That's cute. I'm September, so I'm turning 37 this September.
Oh, okay, you're older than me then. I'm the youngest, I guess.
Jeff's the youngest. All right.
Wow.
Do we have that right, Kyle? So you would be 37 today?
I'm 37, yeah.
On this glorious Saturday, which is just a Saturday?
No, just at some point I turned it, yep.
Yeah.
But who's the most mature? Because it's not Derek. He's the oldest, but he's not the most mature.
Not me.
I think I think it's a four-way tie, and then Derek. I don't know. Look how mature he's handling that. Look at him. Look at him.
Yeah.
We do know Tim is bad.
mature.
That's
Gross.
as much as,
Maybe
that's
he
as much
is.
as we
Gross.
do know about Tim. He's bad.
Hashtag gross.
Okay. All right, so
Bad.
I do love a good hat, especially as the hairline starts to recede. You got to wear more hats, right?
Yeah.
And so I do love a good hat. But this one was actually I got it for Christmas last year because now she's 3. When she was 2, my daughter started saying "you bet." She would mad at me. Like, this is not fun. Like, being silly. She would angrily at me and be like, whenever I said no about something, she would start crying like, "You bad, Dad,
wow.
you bad." But it was just for me. I was the only one that
Devastating.
she said "you bad." So, but it became a running joke within the family. Like, whenever I would tell the kids no something, they'd be like, "Dad, you bad." I'm like, "Shut up." So it became like a pretty fun way for them to like jokingly rib me.
Sure. All 17 of them. You
all
bet.
7. No, you bad. So they got me a hat that way. I actually have used it a few times when they've asked, like, "Dad, can we go have a sleepover at our buddy's house?" And I'm just like, "You bad." Just point to the hat. So yeah, it's just one of those, like, I forget which exact service my wife used for it, but there's all kinds of print your own, make your own hats.
yeah,
and
right.
service. So it was something like that. A personalization mall, maybe. I think that's a pretty popular one. But
It's cute.
anyway, are you trying to enter the room? Not without a shirt on. That's Derek family's.
Yeah, I was gonna say we don't need a Derek fiasco, kid fiasco.
He's like, "You guys are insulting me way too much. I'm gonna leave this podcast."
Hey, that wasn't his fault. To be fair, they just
Get a little
just did it.
nervous
They
that
just
he's so
happened.
quiet. Anybody else getting a little nervous that Derek's so quiet?
I'm nervous that he has a 14-year-old game as a background. That's
Yeah,
what I'm
he's
nervous
got an old Recon game.
about.
I'm nervous. I'm concerned.
Hello. He can't hear us.
Hello.
Hello.
That's
Hello.
Tell him you
bad.
bad.
You being bad?
You bet. That's right.
Being bad?
He gets it. He gets it.
He gets it.
Hey, what's your quick review on what's that game we were playing? Ember Knights.
Ooh, I like it a lot.
Yeah,
Yeah, it's kind of like Dead Cells.
like Dead Cells or like Hades. Yeah, there you go. There you
Ember
go.
Knights.
Sweet.
That's the quick review.
Official
I
review
love
of
it.
the
All right.
game.
We
I
should bring
have
him
no
on at
idea
least
what
once
it
a week to do a quick review of what he's playing.
All right, I love
That's a good bit. I like that.
Ember Knights. I'm looking this up.
I
Yeah,
have
like
it
the quick-
installed and I haven't gotten to it yet.
The quick kid
I don't
review.
know what it is.
We'll talk about that, and we'll talk about a few others. By the way, this is episode 177 of the Current Gen podcast, and that was my son Thad who just came in to say hi. My name's Tim. I'm here with Dan. Good evening.
Boobs.
The birthday boy Kyle.
Hello.
Happy birthday.
The youngest
you
on
so
the
much.
pod, Jeff.
Boobs as well.
and the elder statesman of the podcast, Derek.
Vagina.
Oh,
Your
The
microphone's
oldest
right-
and the youngest. Both
Your
very
microphone's already
immature.
attached to your
That's
face.
great.
You
I know.
kid.
I just wanted to do the vagina.
Love it. But yeah, there are a few games that have come out recently. Last week, of course, you 4 had a spoiler cast about Final Fantasy 16, which, by the way, people seem to be enjoying on the YouTube channel. So thanks for watching it. So we'll continue to do that for big games, especially when I'd say at least 2-3 of us really enjoyed it and want to talk. Like Derek and I did an Elden Ring spoiler cast last year, and people really want to talk about games like that they just spend hours and hours and hours and hours playing. So Final Fantasy 16 is a great example of that. I could see us doing it again at the very least for Spider-Man 2, but there might be a few others between now and the end of the year that
Spider-Man 2 seems like a shoe-in for a
seems like a stupid. I could see maybe Alan Wake 2 because it's story driven,
Ooh.
So maybe an Alan
Yeah.
Wake 2. So there's a few coming up that might.
unless none of us understand the story and we're just like, there's an Alan.
I mean, it is a
think there
Remedy
was a
game. It
Wake.
is going to be like probably overly heady and kind of pretentious. So
Well, that might make it amazing. Who knows? Who knows?
it will. Those are ingredients for amazing. So
Kyle's like, no, you misunderstand. Those are my favorite.
yeah, no,
things.
those were compliments.
Yeah, those are my.
Unless
those are
I
my-
understand.
I prefer the stories where I have to go, all right, let me go have somebody
smarter than me on
explain
YouTube
to
definitely
me
broke
what
this
I
down.
just played.
Yeah.
And then I'm like, yeah, that game was really deep because I have no idea what happened.
Yeah, no, I'm with you. All right, well, let's talk about Pikmin 4, which, by the way, on Metacritic is getting an 87 on the average. I know the overall reviews seem to be very high for this game. A few of us
Dog.
played the demo a little bit. Dog makes all the difference. And I know a couple of you at least own it now, and a few of us are kind of like on the fence. We might buy it at some point, kind of a thing, but try the demo. I just wanted to bring up real quick, at 87, do you guys happen to know of the brand new games released this year by Nintendo, published by Nintendo, where would that rank without looking? What's your
Second.
guess?
For the year? What are
Yeah.
you talking about?
For 2023.
Oh,
Second.
okay.
Sorry, I didn't
Wow.
I
specify
can't think
that.
of anything that's above it
21.
besides Zelda.
21. Let me go check.
I'll say 30. Like across all the games. Like where is it on the whole game?
No,
for
let's say
2023?
Yeah, let's just say of Nintendo published games.
Oh, okay.
Oh, well then.
Third.
Yeah, second.
Depends on, do we count Metroid Prime Remastered? I wouldn't in this particular case of a newly published game from Nintendo. But if you do, then it's third. If you don't, then it's second behind.
Well, then
two
I
other
count
things.
it so I can be right.
All right, you count it. All right.
I counted as well, so I can be right.
Hey, but you know what? What's another one I put on this? I just made a quick short list. Like, hey, how's Nintendo been doing this year with 2023 releases? And in the top 5, 3 of them are either re-releases or DLCs. You've got Advance Wars 1 and 2 at 82. Pikmin 4 is brand new at 87. Then you have Xenoblade Chronicles 3 Future Redeemed at a 92, if you count that DLC as just kind of a major Nintendo release. Metroid Prime at 94 and Tears of the Kingdom at 96. So
You're doing
Nintendo
really good lately.
not doing too shabby, and we still have some big ones for Nintendo on the way later this year. So yeah, should be.
Great.
Oh, and by the way, what's their worst reviewed game? Anybody know? Care to venture a Nintendo?
The
Nintendo game?
Nintendo 1-2 Switch, whatever the 1-2 Switch, everyone Switch, whatever it is.
Is there?
Yeah,
Is that a sequel to like?
Yeah.
A
Yeah,
launch
it
game?
was.
Okay.
There was one
I think
earlier
the
on they
Switch
released.
launch
I didn't know
game,
if they
right?
were just relaunching it or something.
No.
So I was like, didn't this game already come out? But no.
It's one of those Nintendo things where they just reword the title in a confusing way and make it a
Yeah.
brand new game.
It was already a confusing title the first time. It was
Yeah.
like everybody 1, Switch 2, 3, 4.
it'd either be
They're like, I
that
don't-
or the
what?
Switch sports game.
Yeah,
I don't think
Wii
that
Sports
one-
on Switch
I
or
don't
whatever the
think
full
that
name of it is.
one
It's like
did
that's
as
not
well.
confusing.
Yeah, everybody wants to Switch has a 56 on Metacritic.
Oh
So
wow,
that's
I didn't
pretty
expect
poor.
that low.
But
I
the
think
next
IGN gave it
lowest,
like a 4 or
yeah,
something.
it got a lot of
It
low
was
scores
bad.
from legitimate
Thanks.
outlets. That's pretty bad. But the next lowest, though, to give them credit, is at a 79 with Kirby's Return to Dreamland Deluxe. So
Oh,
like
okay.
it's not like they've released a bunch of poor games. It's just that party
Yeah.
game didn't seem to hit. There you go. Little touch base on the old Nintendo.
Kirby's a good one too. I like that one.
Yeah, agreed. And don't forget, Fire Emblem Engage came out this year at
Yeah.
an 8.
Great game.
I mean,
Took like 60 something hours into that game. That game was awesome.
jeez. By the way, did you finish that story, or are you kind of on hold and gonna circle back to it?
Engage. I finished
Yeah.
it and all the DLC.
Holy smokes, dude. Okay, I need to catch up on that one.
We're good.
Derek, did you finish it? I know you played a bunch.
Chapter 18 of I think 25.
Okay,
You're
so
like-
that's
you're
one.
right
That's one
there,
that you
yeah.
might all of a sudden dive in and finish one weekend out of nowhere or something like that. Okay.
Yeah.
All right. So let's talk about Pikmin 4, though. Similar to what you guys have said about some other recent games, I have the demo downloaded. I've had it downloaded for a few weeks now, and I just have not started it because I'm like, I'm in the mood for something else, and so I'll play something else. So I still have not tried the demo. I have no excuse not to. I need to try it. It just kind of looks like more really fun, cute Pikmin gameplay with a few tweaks, but maybe it's more than that. What do you guys who either own it or have tried the demo think about Pikmin 4?
I'll be honest, I own it. I didn't play it.
I haven't played it.
Well, that's
at all.
just sad.
I was counting on Derek, damn it.
Too,
You were excited to play
a little too puzzly for me, but I love watching it. I think it's like very
Oh,
charming.
that's fair. Yeah.
Yeah, I like that game as like I'm in the room while somebody else plays it type of game.
Sure. I can see that.
No,
All right, so-
I mean, I'm excited for it. That's why I bought it, but I just haven't cared to play it yet because I've been playing other stuff.
Is that because Remnant 2 is out early?
I would rather play Remnant II.
Yeah, I think that one is kind of interrupting some gaming plans that people might have had, especially if they didn't realize it was coming out early.
I didn't until yesterday, until Dan
Yeah.
said something.
Yeah. So,
I'm not any further ahead in the Pikmin 4 demo. Like I got to a point where the dog grew to where I could ride him around and jump in higher areas, and that's where I stopped. When they were like introduce that mechanic, that's where I stopped. So I'm still very early in the game. I'm not even done with the demo. Like,
are you a Pikmin fan, Dan? Were you ever in that series?
There was almost like a mini game thing on. There was that game that came out. Was a Nintendo Land, I think, with the Wii U. I think so, Nintendo Land is what it was called, and there was a Pikmin mini game in that, and I actually quite liked that. But I tried playing 3. Like my wife and I, like we bought 3 and we tried playing. I think we played like an hour of it. It just, I don't know, it didn't grab me. It's super cute,
very particular flavor.
Yeah. Very particular. I agree.
Yeah.
All right, well, let me ask you a couple questions about Pikmin then, see if you guys know. Do you know when the first Pikmin game came out? Any guesses? What year?
Well, it came out on the
2002.
2000. I was going to say 2002.
2001 on the GameCube. Sold 1.6 million units. Pretty modest numbers for a Nintendo exclusive, but of course not bad numbers for most games. But for a Nintendo game, that's not a huge hit. Pikmin 2 then came out 3 years later. Sold a little bit less, 1.12 million.
Oh. Not a high-selling franchise, yeah.
Not a high-selling franchise at all, I agree.
It's very niche.
And then they took 9 years then to come out with the sequel. In between, they came out with some Wii versions of the GameCube games, which each sold less than 500,000 copies on the Wii, where they upgraded the controls, I guess, for the pointer, I'm guessing.
Oh, okay. Well, yeah, I think it actually made the games better, too.
Did they? Okay.
If I remember correctly, I think I watched reviews and people loved using the Wii controller to control moving the characters, because it's like a mouse.
Makes sense. Yeah, it's like a mouse, exactly. Yeah, it's point and click type of thing.
There was a city builder that I played on the Wii that I was like, this is the first time I played a console city builder that I've really enjoyed since like Super Nintendo SimCity days. Because most console controls for a city builder, I'm like, forget it. I'm gonna go to computer. This is too much.
There's too many menus in those types of games. Yeah.
Yeah, but there was a Wii one for it was the Anno series, but they called it Dawn of Discovery. It was like a dumbed down version of the Anno 1800 game, I guess. Super fun though, like to point at the screen and drag and drop, and like, yeah, it worked great. Awesome. Pikmin 3 on the Wii U, surprising numbers, I think, for how few the Wii U console sold. It was 1.27 million for Pikmin 3. And then that number went up by another 2.2 million when they released it on the Switch in 2020.
The first time I bought a Pikmin game was 3. And I've said it on the show before. I played it with my daughter. I believe we beat it. I think we did. But I absolutely loved that game. But I think I loved it more because it was quality time with her. So totally. I'm still excited for Pikmin 4, but like there's a lot of reading, and I haven't played a Pikmin game, and I think I looked it up. Pikmin 3 came out like 9 years ago or something like that. So I haven't played Pikmin in 9 years. I don't remember a lot. I mean, I know what the game is, but I'm saying control-wise, all that stuff. So when I booted up the demo and he started talking to me, I'm like, I don't want to listen to you. So I'm turning you off right now because you are talking too much and you're telling me to do too much. So, but I will eventually play it. I expect that this one's going to be the best Pikmin, and I really thought 3 was really good. I just remember it being really fun.
Yeah, I've heard some folks say that going back to play the older ones actually isn't all that great because Pikmin 4 does all the same stuff way better, and you go back to play the old ones and it feels similar. But
I should probably uninstall 3 then, because I was going to get to that just to see like.
I don't know. 3 might hold up. I think it's 1 and 2 specifically that re-released on Switch. People are kind of like a little more negative on.
Okay.
Yeah, they're 20-year-old games. That makes sense.
That's that's a good point. Yeah. So Pikmin 4 is out, came out this week, but let's talk about Remnant 2, which I thought we would discuss next week. We still totally can because it officially releases next week, but early access, I know a few of you have jumped in already. What do you guys think so far? What are the improvements over the first game? How's it striking you? We'll start with Birthday Boy, since I know you love it.
Yeah. Kyle's the bigger fan.
I got around to getting like 7 hours in last night. I was up to like 4 a.m. playing with my buddy.
Nice.
And that game is humbling. Goodness.
No shit.
Harder? Is it harder than the first one?
I got healing now, right? I'm getting some like
Yep.
Yeah.
Okay, yeah, I'm getting all this stuff that no one can hear me. Anyways, it doesn't matter.
Yeah, we can hear you fine.
Okay, great. I don't know what all these warnings are about. So I'm enjoying it. It's just humbling. We started on normal mode, and like very quickly brought it down to survival mode, which is easy, but it's there. The devs say you should start here, pretty much. Like it's kind of like Diablo. As you get a little like
World Tier
more
1
powerful,
first,
you can turn up the difficulty, and stuff like that. But yeah, we turned it down pretty quickly. We spent maybe hours like just getting through the first like couple corridors, and of course with somebody else they kind of up the difficulty and stuff. Feels really good. There's not a lot of tutorials. There's a lot of things that like you just have to either remember or kind of figure out for yourself in the game. The game is not really doing a lot to handhold you, which is great because that means you just kind of get right into it. I started playing as the gunslinger, who's just really quick DPS kind of type of character. Jeff, I think you said you were doing Hunter now, who has like a nice
I was doing Hunter, yeah.
Whatever has the dog, right?
A handler, yeah.
Yeah, the handler.
Wait, so
Can you pet the dog?
by the way?
Yep. Yeah. You
Okay.
Can't pet the dog?
Mm-hmm.
Oh, nice. So it's cool. The basic thing is that there's like a I don't know, kind of like a city or something like that. That's kind of like your hub, and they had something similar in the first game, and that's where you do all your crafting and your upgrading and stuff like that. And then you bounce into a world which is procedurally generated in some way, and even more so, like to the point like where I re-rolled my campaign because it was too hard, and I put it down on a smaller difficulty. When I started that level, the entire aesthetics and world changed. It wasn't just like, the corridors are different. Literally everything.
Same thing happened when I changed classes, yeah.
Even the enemies were completely different,
Yep.
So it's like the enemies that you were facing. So it's like everything changes, which really gives way to like wanting to jump into different people's games because different types of enemies drop different types of materials. Much like Monster Hunter, you take those materials, you upgrade your weapons or make new ones and stuff like that. So it's just it's all about getting with people. And even though you're only making progress in your game when you're in your game, the idea is when those people come in, they're material farming. You know what I mean? So like you're never
you're
wasting
not
time.
getting nothing for co-oping. You're just not advancing.
No,
the
yeah,
story
you're
in
just
your
not
game,
advancing
but-
your personal story if you go into somebody else's game, and it
get
behooves you to go into their games because again, like once you get to the boss of that area, like it's one of 6 different bosses just for that area, and then so it's like you're never doing the same thing more than once in this game. And the layouts are always different. So let's say you go to an area that aesthetically might look the same. All the corridors and hallways and kill boxes are all going to be different and stuff like that. So it just breathes a lot of freshness into it. But yeah, this game's hard, man. I feel like I catch myself being hypocritical sometimes because I'm like, I'm not playing Dark Souls games anymore. They just frustrate me and yada yada. But I feel like this game, and I felt this way about the first game, that you have a little more tools in your arsenal. So I feel like you can attack situations a little easier. So I feel like I have more of a hand on the wheel with this game in terms of its difficulty in navigating
because
it.
I just skipped the first game. I think the melee thing is huge for this game.
Yeah, melee was good in the first game too.
Yeah.
So like being able to like go from shooting and you're being swarmed and being able to pull out a weapon and use that really
some
really
people,
good.
some classes or archetypes, whatever you want to call them, get giant ass swords and just
And they're all
It's
melee
awesome.
classes. Yeah, there's all melee classes.
Did the first
too.
game have huge swords like that too? I don't remember that.
Yeah.
Oh really?
Oh, yeah.
Okay. I didn't play it enough. Okay.
So yeah, I'm enjoying it a lot. We still haven't even gotten to a boss yet. I mean, the game is pretty punishing, So
that's good to know. Okay.
So I'm gonna try and chip away at it more tonight. But Jeff, this is your first one. How are you?
Yeah, it is.
How are you liking it?
You mentioned being surprised that I got it, and I don't know. It was just something with the gameplay that I watched leading up to the early access for Deluxe purchasers or whatever version it is. I was like, this looks like something I could enjoy.
Well, the shooting's
playing.
really good too.
Yeah,
Like
the shooting feels really good.
So good. Yeah. Oh.
So I started with Hunter because I was like, maybe it's good to be a sniper or whatever and get some distance. I'm good with distance shooting in every shooter. Like I just am. Good with accuracy. Like Kyle said, though, there's some enemies you're gonna have to find their blind spots, but the game's not gonna tell you where it is. You're gonna have to figure it out, like where their weak spots are, I should say.
There's no like scanning ability or something.
No, you kind of have to.
I don't even think you have
like,
time.
I'm chipping their armor off, or it's their head, or it's their arm, whatever. You have to figure it out as you shoot.
Interesting.
But anyway, I kept as a solo player. starting out at least, I kept getting swarmed easily, which is not that's not the class you go with to get swarmed. You're not supposed to be a sniper getting swarmed, because then I'm just stuck swinging around meleeing people, which I have the most success with as a hunter. But so I switched to handler pretty quick, because with a handler you got a dog, and that's basically like playing co-op in some way, because he's helping you distract enemies. He's going up and attacking by default. Eventually you unlock more skills as you go along to give him certain commands, or he can even heal you at some points.
Can you name the dog?
No, I don't even know what his name is. I think it's just
call him
You're a
Torgal.
terrible owner.
Yeah, just call him Torgal. It's fine.
That's all that
He's
matters.
Torgal.
All dogs are Torgal now.
Went from Final Fantasy to Remnant with a dog.
All dogs are Torgal.
It's like naming every horse Roach after Witcher 3. It's like, yeah. Gonna name everything.
Yeah. Well, so I found a success like immediately with handler, because like I almost used all my heals in the first area, corridor, whatever you want to call it, and then I had like one left, and I still was like at 3/4 health, and I felt really good going into the second corridor. Like I was like, oh my god, I made it! Like it just that.
That's Dark Souls, you know, like getting to that campfire and just being like, I barely made it here, man. Like I limped all the way here, you know, but then having that sense of satisfaction of like.
That's exactly it. Yeah, man, that's that feeling of those FromSoft games when you really get hooked on them. Yeah.
The map I got in was really cool for the hunter. I wish it was able to take me back to that, because instead I got thrown into like some type of Diablo-looking, gothic, weird-ass post-apocalyptic world. The first map I got as a hunter was like a Bloodborne. This is the way Reddit described it. It was like a Bloodborne map.
Okay.
Those are the two I got, but flipped.
Yeah. It's cool, man. It's a cool design, and the enemies are very, very cool and human. But I had like chainsaw guys, and they were just tearing me apart as a hunter. But yeah, I'm glad I switched though. A handler you could easily do solo. Every article you look up will validate. But yes, handler's the way to go if you're going to do solo. But eventually I'll jump in with Kyle and our buddy. Who also plays the game, and we'll figure out a way to do co-op where we have complementary classes instead of just all 3 solo classes, you know.
And you can respec easily, so it's like when you choose a new class, like you'll re-roll your campaign, which really just means re-rolling that world. You keep all of your progress and everything like that,
and it's badass when you create a new character. Actually, I basically just said delete the hunter. I wasn't even that far in.
You started over, okay.
Yeah, I just said I wasn't even that far in to even care. Just delete the hunter. So I started over, and then there's an option at the end that says, do you want to skip the tutorial? And I said, yeah, like, because that's
cool.
That's all the fluff from the beginning that gets you to the main town. You can just skip that and go right to picking your class. And that felt really good. I was like, yes, this game knows what gamers want out of starting over, basically.
Yeah, that's awesome. That's cool. And Derek, what do you think of it so far? I know you liked the first one too.
So I was really impressed when I first started. First of all, I think graphically it looks better. I'm not saying it's like an amazing looking game, but like
it's
on PC, the worlds and the environments and the enemies look great. I don't care about the story. I'm not paying attention to that. That's not why I'm playing it. So
there's nothing to pay attention to. So.
Yeah. Kyle's like, I'm trying, and it's not amazing.
I'm trying so hard, but really it boils down to, boy, everything's weird, huh?
Yeah.
Everything's weird, huh?
Yeah, boy, isn't that weird what we just witnessed? Whoa, boy,
right,
that's
so you're not
weird.
missing much, Derek, it sounds like.
That's the second one, basically, too.
I wasn't really... A lot of the reviews said it was basically... Well, first of all, they said it was bad, but they were like, it's just a copy and paste of the first one, which... That's not why people played the first one for the most part. So I don't care about the story, which is totally fine for these. I've said this on the podcast before. For these type of games, I'm okay not being really invested in the story. I'm there for the gameplay, and the gameplay is really fun. I did get very, very, very angry when I got to a boss. It's a tree. I forgot his name.
Trenty?
Yeah, Rude or whatever. It was terrible. Like you're hitting him, and then he gets mad at you, and so he screams, and a bunch of enemies come, and they just overwhelm you. And I tried different tactics, and I was getting completely obliterated every single time. So I really don't know if that's like something where they're like, you should come back and do this later, or Derek, you just suck and you don't understand the game. Because I even read one of the strategies. They're like, well, just melee And then after you melee, you back off. Once he sends out all the enemies, and you want to try to take out the enemies real quick, and then go back to meleeing him. And I was like, yeah, I'm doing that. But they still overwhelm you. Like, even if you ignore him and you focus just on the waves of enemies, they're lightning quick, and they come from every angle, and you have people sniping you. So it was very overwhelming. So I totally agree this game is very difficult, because up until that point, some of the enemies were semi-challenging, but nothing was difficult. I'm playing the gunslinger character, and I totally like his special. He does the like quick fire, like 6 shots real quick. And then I also upgraded my long shot to have fire bullets. So any tough enemies, I just add fire to my bullets, and it kills them pretty quick. So I was doing good up until I got to that boss fight. So I do think I'm going to try to jump into co-op. I know you can't cross-platform, so I'm just going to have to play with PC people. But overall, I think it's going to be a fun game. Like, it reminds me, for me personally, it reminds me a lot of like the feelings I got when I was playing Outriders. And it's that third-person, chaotic shooter. This one has better melee than Outriders. You can melee in Outriders, but not the quickness that this game has. This game has quick melee, which feels good too. But it has that chaos that Outriders is absolutely chaotic.
Chaos.
This game, chaos. The best Final Fantasy game ever.
No.
But this one has that same feeling. It's very overwhelming, especially in that first boss, and I imagine it's going to be like that in harder areas. Because that first boss was in the very first area I explored.
So Derek, let me ask you this: like, between the two non-FromSoft Souls-likes that you've played in recent months, Lies of P and Remnant II, which one has kind of nailed the feeling, difficulty balance, all that better? I know they're very different games, but just like in terms of that feeling you get when you're hooked on a FromSoft game.
So at first I didn't like Lies of P, but then I kind of came around, and that's more my style.
Okay.
But I've only played like an hour and a half of Remnant 2, and I haven't played co-op at all.
Too early to know.
Yeah. But I could see, because I really, really got addicted to Outriders, so I wouldn't be surprised if this is a game where I'm like, nope, this is amazing. Or it could be one I fall off real quick. But I think it's releasing at a really, really good time for me personally, because, yes, I bought Pikmin 4, but that's not. I wouldn't be surprised if I ignore that.
Not a lot of distractions right now. Yeah.
So
a hard game to come out right now is a good time, because you don't have to juggle a lot.
That's true.
Yeah.
That's true.
I think the next game I'm getting. Oh shit! Never mind. Baldur's Gate 3 comes out for me in a week and a half.
Yeah.
But I thought it was Atlas.
Yeah. I just came to the realization not too long ago that Starfield and Baldur's Gate 3 comes out on console the same day, and I'm like,
yes.
Oh, they're both early September.
That's so annoying.
They're both September 6th.
Yeah, they're both September 6th. Starfield, you can get a few days early if you get the other edition, but yeah, the actual release date is the same day.
So Baldur's Gate 3, is that hitting PC, the 1.0 version in August?
It's hitting PC a month ahead of time. Yeah.
Okay,
August
so even
3rd.
early access is now, but 1.0 is going to be like everything or updated, or is that way different?
The 1.0 is the full game, yeah.
So like the early access is not the full game then? Because a lot of times
early
access
it's just
is
Act 1, I think, right?
Got it.
First. Yeah.
Okay. It's almost like a prologue then, huh, to the full game?
Yeah, I mean, it's a very, 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 very long prologue. You can put a lot of hours into it, but
they didn't even have like the city, right? Like the city.
Yeah,
wasn't even, like they had so they're gonna be things in
this game's
1.0.
huge.
Yeah, that like weren't even in the prologue
very,
or the
big.
Act
Like
1.
I've been watching some videos from Fetch Your Life
into
about it,
and I like scratched the surface.
Yeah.
And I have no problem saying I sucked. You don't know how many times like I would go into a fight and I would think I'm outsmarting these enemies, and they're just like, "You're stupid, dude." You're dead.
Someone likened it to playing with like a dungeon master who's done it a lot and is very mean. So that's kind of how they.
Well, I was reading an article where they were like, Larian, the studio that made it, they're like, so every fight is just a puzzle. I'm like, I suck at puzzles. But that's exactly what it is. It's like you can't do the same strategy in every fight. You have to look at your surroundings. You have to look at your enemy. You have to look at your character, and you have to figure out what's the best strategy. So, anyway, so that's coming out August 3rd.
Yep, that's coming out
the
soon.
full release.
Yep.
I'm excited for that. And then August 10th is Atlas Fallen. So
you're not playing Pikmin 4. I'm gonna just tell you that right now.
Yeah.
You're not gonna
Yeah,
play
right. Yeah.
Especially with the fall game coming out, something with the word "fall" in it. I mean,
yeah.
Pikmin
I'm super hyped for Atlas Fallen. I'm watching all the videos. I'm hyping myself. I'm not talking about it, but I'm hyping myself.
All right. Well, so Remnant II sounds like it's exactly if you liked the first game a lot, and if you like a good, a challenging FromSoft style game, but you want guns. I mean, come on, Remnant 2.
I think if you like co-op experiences, this is a game for you. Like, even if you didn't play the first one, if you're a listener and you're like, I don't like Souls games at all, then don't buy this game if you're a solo player.
Yeah,
but if you are like, but I like co-op experiences that make me use my brain or strategy and my teammates.
Oh, okay, that's good.
Then this would be a good game for you because you can't just run around and do whatever the hell you want. You got to work together.
The game bullies you to solo, so it's like you want to play like this. The game is expecting you to play.
It's like stop playing alone. Go find.
Yeah.
And they make it real easy. Like when I go to like a checkpoint, it's like basically advertising. Do you want to play co-op? And then they have quick match
set
up.
Somebody in.
Yeah, and it's really cool. Like it's almost like an orbit where when you look, you can see the players around you, and it'll show you where they're at, and you can scroll over them and join their game, or you can just do quick match, and it'll just throw you in a match that's close to where you're at. But like, it's pretty cool. There's a lot of options, and when I try to join a couple people's matches, one my PC like froze, but the second time I did join, but I had to get off because I had to do something else. So, but my point in sharing that is that it loaded in extremely quick. Everything was real easy to just join somebody else's game.
Yeah, nice.
Gotta love it.
Well, another game that came out actually it was last week, but last week, of course, we did. I don't know if you guys talked about it at all because I didn't listen to the spoiler cast because I'm on mission 61 of Final Fantasy, so I will not listen to the spoiler cast till I finish that game.
Thanks for not supporting our show.
You're welcome. Yeah, I didn't. I didn't edit your weird pause in the middle and post it for you and write it up last week. I didn't do that for you, Derek. Exoprimal came out last week though, and I gotta tell you, sure. I downloaded it. I had it installed.
Yeah.
And I was like, I might give this a try. And then all I did was read a few impressions, and I was like, no. And I just uninstalled it. I didn't even try it. So like, it's not fair. I'll recognize that. I wasn't very fair to the game. I didn't even give it a try. Did anyone else try Exoprimal?
I was reading some tweet about some weird shit where like you start the game and there's like one mode. And it's like, well, hold on, really? Is there just one? And basically you have to just keep playing the game. And I guess things kind of like unlock like maybe sort of in a random way or just like in a really weird, awkward way, right?
Yeah, I mean, it's just like you're going through a story and like as you do a new thing, like that's kind of a new mode or a new mechanic or a new this or new that.
Yeah.
So yeah, the game wants you to go. It's a little on rails for sure.
Weird progression.
Is it fun though to play? Is the gameplay fun?
I'll be honest. I mean, I think reviewers are enjoying this game more than I was because I saw a lot of really positive stuff like, oh, this game's actually pretty good and yada yada. I'm still on the boat. That
I should clarify. It wasn't negative. It's just the way they described it. I was like, oh, this doesn't sound like something I'll like.
Right. And I totally
so
get
it wasn't
that
all negative. It was like
because when I was reading, I kind of felt the same way. I was like, boy, they're really liking this, but the picture that they're painting is not a picture I want to look at. You know?
Yeah.
Well, even
so I totally agree with you.
One review that's actually on the higher spectrum because the Metacritic is actually mid 60s and 70s depending on what platform you switch to. None of them are extremely high, but IGN was actually one of the higher reviews. They gave it an 8 out of 10. But like if you go to the end of his review, he even says like, all the cool content, all the real cool stuff's at the end. I wish they would have like, kind of showed you this stuff earlier. And I'm like, dude, I don't want to play. I don't want to play through this story mode that's
really
not even
grindy, repetitive shooter.
Exactly.
You don't want that right now. Yeah.
No.
And again, to be fair, because I just complimented Remnant II, this is the same type of thing. It's a co-op shooter. But I played it and I was like, No, I don't like the way it feels. It
I didn't like the
works.
feel
I'm
of
not
it
saying
either,
it
yeah.
works, but it just wasn't a game where I was like, I want to learn the system. I want to play this. This looks like chaotic fun.
And it does lean into like heavy co-op stuff where it's like you're playing a class and everyone needs to be playing a different class and yada yada,
okay.
you know.
Okay.
If
And
you
it's
got
PvE, so it's like you're with your buddies like fighting through a level, but sometimes another team is doing a similar thing in like a mirrored level, and your progression is sending mobs to their world like to try and kill them. You
You're
know
not
what I mean?
shooting at them directly.
Not really, but there are some missions where at the end of it you'll kind of fight each other, but like I haven't gotten to anything that yet where it's like all PvP. Like it
Gotcha.
bleeds into that sometimes, but it never starts that way, at least where I've gotten.
Okay.
And that's just I don't know. Nothing really screamed to me about it. I think, what did I say in chat that I was like, it's like a really expensive, not free, more boring Warframe. Like Warframe's free and it's way cooler. Like you're a space ninja and there's swords and like the traversal mechanics are really cool. This game kind of feels a little stiff and clunky and is $60, you know, if you're not playing it on Game Pass.
Yeah. Ooh.
You know, like but it feels the same. Maybe the graphics are a little better because obviously it has a bigger budget. But like Warframe, like if you like this game, go play Warframe, everybody. Like that's a way better game.
And there's also DLC and or like cosmetics rather that you can spend real money on. So it's like it's a $60 game. All the things you just said about the clunkiness, you have to pay extra for other crap. It sounds very like older Capcom bull crap. That it's like, come on, Capcom, you've gotten much better with that stuff. Like, what are you doing? Don't do that. Like,
no, they've been having a really good year, or a really good few years. So like, this just seems really weirdly out of place, like in their catalog.
They really pushed this game. Like they really advertised this game a lot.
Well, I wonder why.
So I really thought it was gonna be better.
Me too. Like, I thought it was going to be like Earth Defense Force. I think I said that in the chat like 100 times, and it's just not that at all. Not even kind of. So,
so not a strong recommend from the current gen crew, but also if you got Game Pass, you could just give it a try to see if it clicks.
Yeah, it's always worth a try if you're interested and you have Game Pass. If you don't have Game Pass, no, I wouldn't recommend this at $60. Not a chance.
$60. It feels like Anthem to me. You know what I mean? Like where. Like I can see this game not being supported in a very short amount of time, and now you're the asshole who spends $60 on it, you know, on a dead game that's not going to get supported.
Babylon's Fall.
Babylon's Fall is a great example of that. Yeah. I think everyone's having their turn of having a really bad live service game that closes down in a year. Like a Gundam game just closed down that just came out last year. That was a live service game. Like all these games are dying off, and like. For whatever reason, Capcom's running up and going, "We're here!" to like a party that got shut down 3 years ago. Like,
dude, Square is still trying to get in that effing party with their NFT bull crap. It's like, dude, knock it off. Like,
Yep. Some backwards thinking folks out there for sure.
Well, another game that came out last week that we didn't have a chance to talk about yet. I'm pretty sure, Jeff, you finished Oxenfree II: Lost Signals, and I don't think anyone else got it. And this, speaking of games at a good price, $15 if you like narrative adventure games. It sounds like it's absolutely worth that price. But what do you think of it? How did it compare to the first one? Do you recommend it? All that stuff.
It feels very expanded compared to the first one. I don't remember what the map was like in the first one. I can't remember if it was more linear and it walked you through every part.
I remember backtracking a bunch, but that might have been
backtracking a lot in that game too. Yeah.
Okay, I don't remember that for some reason, but this one felt like they gave you a map at the beginning where all of your main mission points are, and they say you need to go do these 4 things with these communicators or whatever the hell they were called in the game, and you need to find the highest points on this island to do it. I'm not going to go into specifics on the story, but they basically say go do these 4 things, and they say just figure out where to go. And you have a map telling you where to go.
Little Metroidy, huh?
Yeah, exactly. So there's a lot of Metroid stuff to it where you're doubling back, going, oh, there was a collectible back there I didn't get, because I like getting trophies and stuff on Steam, or whatever they're called on Steam.
The little achievements that pop up are great.
Yeah, now they make a sound on the new interface, so it's
I know.
Yeah, it feels so good.
Sound.
Yeah, that's my favorite part of PS5, Xbox, whatever, any of the consoles is like you get
that was one of my favorite inventions of modern day gaming.
It's like, oh yes, especially when
who did that first? Was that
I think it was Microsoft. I thought.
Yeah, I think it was Microsoft.
They did achievements because the PS3 launched without trophy support, and then it came later. Yeah.
Okay.
Xbox is getting a little too classical music with their sounds now. Now it's like, it's some weird elaborate, and you're like, calm down, just a little.
I just like a nice little chime.
Yeah,
like,
exactly.
Hey.
Yeah, when it's like a diamond or whatever achievement, where that rare achievement, they make a really long sound. Anyway, Oxenfree II feels like a pretty moderate expansion on what the first one was.
Okay.
In terms of freedom of exploration and stuff like that.
Still no combat or anything, right? It's still a puzzle.
No, it's all
adventure
dialogue
game.
based, and the dialogue is as organic as it was the first game, which is why it looks very similar.
Voice acted or no?
Voice acting is still there and very, very good, and again feels very conversational in an organic way, where somebody will be in the middle of saying something to you, and as they're waiting for a response, they'll continue talking, and then it'll wait until either they're done with the sentence, or if their sentence isn't that important, that's when it'll come in with your response that you selected.
Kind of feels like a real convo. I like that.
Yeah, it feels like a real conversation. Yeah. And the first game did that just the same. So they didn't change anything there. I think where the game was really freaking cool was there's a new mechanic involving time.
Okay.
Let's put it that way. And there's like literal holes in time that you can go through. So that's really cool. You only do it like 2 or 3 times, but every time you do it, I'm like, this is so cool for like a game that's just walking around and talking. I couldn't believe they added that. And they also
how much like a sequel does it feel like? Is it like a direct sequel or?
Oh yeah, that's what I was gonna say. Is like it's 5 years after the first game, and they don't really get to what makes it a sequel until like maybe over halfway in.
Okay.
You start to talk to people that sound very familiar.
Okay,
gotcha.
And you recognize some of the names. You're like, is that the same person like that from the first game?
Oh, I'd have to do a refresher. It's been
I was going to say it's probably a good idea to play the first, right?
Because the people that you talk to will recap what happened. Like they'll be like, here's what happened with so and so.
Nice.
So eventually they'll recap it later on. But it does take later on in the story to finally discover the connection between the first game and this one, and then the way that it actually wraps up the story of both the first and the second game by the end of the game. Like it's really well done. Depending on the ending that you choose, because there's 3 endings you can choose from. I chose the bittersweet one, which was like good for my character and good for not good for my character in a way, I guess, but great for everybody else. So there's other options available too, though. And in the dialogue, if you choose, they don't even hint at what you should choose sometimes. If you choose incorrectly, it can impact your relationship with a certain character to where later on, if you have a confrontation with somebody, they will either help you or not in that confrontation. I got to a point. Yeah. I got to a point at the end where I was like, it was like the final moment, the final quote unquote struggle, quick time event or whatever. And only one person was helping me when I had the option of 2.
Gotcha.
I was like, oh my God, no! She's gonna beat me.
Yeah, stuff plays out based on what you pick.
Yeah, exactly. Right? And I don't know what I selected that was wrong. I have no freaking clue. Oh, and the coolest part of the game is when you're done with it, the way that they tell you the choices that you made compared to the rest of the community that played.
Oh, I do love that.
Is so clever. Like for me, at least from my ending, it was like a box full of items, and each item you picked up related to the story moment. Like 50% of you chose to help this guy, and 30% of you chose this. And apparently the ending I got was like 3% chose my ending. So I found that to be very interesting too.
Jeff's a special boy.
The variety of endings that there were. I think there were like apparently 10, maybe a little less, maybe 8 exact endings that you can get. Like there's 3 endings that you can get, but like obviously there are different parts that are going to be a little different.
Okay.
For everybody. For at least 8 people, I guess. I thought it was a great expansion on an already good, really solid adventure game. Like it's not going to be. I still in this year though. I don't think it's going to be like top 10 worthy because I'm not doing much. It's just the game's all about vibes.
It'll probably be on your list for like your favorite stories at least. Something like that.
And the visuals do look a little better than the first game, even though
I remember
you would tell that by the trailers. But
I liked the first one too. I want to say that was a 2016 game. Is that right? Is that the right year?
Yes, yeah, because that's when I was streaming and stuff. Yeah.
Okay.
For a little bit, for like literally like a month.
All right, well, this game is on my wish list, and it's not like it's too expensive or anything. It's more like kind of the Derek conundrum with buying Pikmin 4. Where I'm like, I could buy it, and it's just going to sit there in my library for a little while. So I was going to wait and buy it when I'm ready to actually play it.
Only 2 more hours, and that's because I explored more. This was only 2 more hours than the first game. So for me, it ended up being almost 7 hours.
Nice brief game. I like that.
Especially because I backtracked a lot.
Yep.
But the first game was like 4 hours.
By the way, Jeff, I'll recommend it again. I don't know if you got it when it was free on Epic Games. I still think you'd really enjoy Game Deck because you like the adventure dialogue-driven
I think I
games.
still have it installed. Yeah, and I haven't even.
If you're just in the mood for that, it's that same Oxenfree vibe, just in terms of like really creative dialogue and great writing and.
I'm a sucker for that, dude.
Does that run on the Steam Deck? Is the Steam Deck verified?
It is Steam Deck verified.
Steam
I
Deck
believe.
It was only because on Epic they were giving it away for free or whatever.
Epic was giving it away for free.
I nabbed it. Yeah, I nabbed it then.
I think it's normally like $20 or something. It's not as. No, never mind. It's 30. It's $30.
Oh, well, those sons of bitches, those cheapskates,
those
the audacity.
jerks, and it is verified on Steam Deck. There you go.
Sweet.
I was doing a Game Deck Steam Deck thing. It was true.
You did a good job. I really do. I do hope someday that they figure out a way to get Game Pass and Epic Games and stuff like that onto the Steam Deck. Like I know that.
Yeah,
they're just a conversation away from making that happen, and someone just needs to hurry it up with that convo.
Yeah. Instead of all these third-party super uber expensive desktop emulators that are basically just Windows and you install the apps on it.
Right.
Come on, man, guys, just have a conversation.
There's all kind of workarounds, but it's like this is
make it easy. There's got to be a way to make it an app that you just launch directly.
Yeah,
I wish I could somehow tell Epic Games like I'm much more likely to actually splurge on some of your great sales that you have and like use your platform more if I can use it on my portable device. But since I can't, I usually buy stuff on Steam because I like knowing that if I ever want to, I can play this portably.
There is an option to obviously there are options to jailbreak things, kind of like you can with phones, but I've never been comfortable with that idea because it breaks your warranty. So no, I'm not going to do that. Sorry.
You can do a bunch of workarounds. It's a lot though. There's a lot of copying and pasting of code and actions to execute and things like that. It probably takes like 30 minutes for someone like me who can just copy instructions as I go through them. Like I'm not going to code it, but I'll like follow shit. But I don't want to do it. I don't necessarily want to go through all those steps.
Listen,
anyway,
when Phil wants just another feather in his cap to piss off Jimmy, all right, he'll talk to Epic, and they'll figure these things out. They'll figure or Steam or whatever.
He's got his hands full right now, but
he's got Jimmy to deal with.
I'm sure once he's got some room, I think that's gonna happen. I think that's
just a little extra jab at Jimmy there.
Just a little extra jab at Jimmy. The old Jimmy jab. All right. Viewfinder is out, and I know Jeff, you talked about the demo a bit ago. This game does look really cool. So if you like puzzle games, especially visual centric puzzle games, where it's very much about your perspective,
it's like that Superliminal one where it's like that one was more to do with perspective, literally changing your perspective to change the shape of objects. This one is literally changing your environment with a picture. It's so incredible how they did that.
Yeah, very cool game. That is out now on I think. Definitely on Steam. I don't know if it's out on other stuff or not.
PS5. Yeah, it's
PS5. Okay.
It's like $30 though, so I'm $25-$30. So that's why I haven't gotten it.
Well, as you heard earlier in the show, my son Thad, as well as my sons Shepard and Kale and myself, all four of us played Ember Knights. We got it it's on Switch and PC.
Yeah.
Runs great on the Switch. You know, it's one of those games that the art style and the lack of demand visually makes it work well on the Switch. It's a great Switch game, but I'm sure it works great on Steam too, of course. But we played it the other night, 4-player. He compared it to Dead Cells because that's the game in that kind of roguelike genre he's really dived into. I would say it's much more like Hades, but it's got some Dead Cells vibes too, just in that you've got your selection of permanent upgrades, but for the most part, you're upgrading what you might be able to have drop for you during the next run. Like that's kind of that model that you've seen in game after game, Rogue Legacy and Spelunky and many other games before it. So I liken it to Hades. It's kind of more like a cartoony co-op Hades. If you like that style of game, the combat feels good and a lot of dashing and rolling around and fighting bosses and mini bosses, and you kind of pick, do you want to go towards a room that could get you more gold or towards a room that could give you a new upgrade for a special attack that you have or whatever. You kind of pick what type of room you want to go to next in some cases. Work your way to a boss, work your way to a new environment, and keep on going. And every time you go back to the hub, there's more things to upgrade and things that you've unlocked, runes that you found. You can choose to upgrade your health or add regen or make your attack stronger. It's all the stuff you've seen before in these kind of games, but it's just very cleverly done in terms of its visuals. The 4-player stuff is a lot of fun. Most of it is shared. It's like most of the money that you collect, if one person collects it, you all get it, which is nice. So when you do get to a shop, you can all spend, you would all have the exact same amount of money to spend. So you don't have to fight over collecting coins, which is good. You do kind of have to battle over who collects what special attacks and what runes. Those are limited. Runes are just kind of like special trinkets you hold on to that boost a skill or your stats or something like that. So yeah, for the most part, it's a really well done, really well thought out, fun little multiplayer game. It was only like $18, so it was worth the purchase, and I do recommend it.
I have it installed. I'm actually excited to play it because it does look like a really fun action game.
Yeah, it's super fun, and we had just unlocked the bow, which is the first weapon you unlock. So we're still very early. We only did one hour and a half or so session altogether. That's all we've played. I don't really have a lot of interest in playing the solo. If I'm going to play a game like this solo, I'm going to go back and try to finally beat a game like Hades or try the DLC on Dead Cells. Like, to me, those are the tops of this genre. I don't think any game comes close to those two, personally, if I'm in the mood for that kind of game. But this is a really fun, kind of family-friendly, co-op-friendly, fun game. So I'm sure it's fun single player, too. So
I forgot that I played Dead Cells for the first time this year. I meant to add it to my backlog mentions that I want to put together for the end of the year. Oh my god, that game's incredible, dude.
Dead Cells is
awesome.
Amazing.
I tried to jump right into the DLC.
So did I, Kyle.
That DLC really wants you to be good at the first game before you start.
Kyle, I realized immediately, I was like, I'm going to have to actually dedicate time to relearn this game. I have so much stuff unlocked. I'm sure you're the same way. That main room with all the little orbs where all your stuff's collected. So many things unlocked. And I dove in and I was like, I'm getting killed by these first little enemies. Like, I don't remember how to play this I was like, I'm going to have to.
Very humbling,
Very humbling. Anyway, a few pieces of DLC or updates that are worth mentioning. Sea of Thieves got their Legend of Monkey Island content, which
cool. Okay.
I don't know if
I haven't re-downloaded for that. I would love to. I would love to play that with Tim. I mean, the last time I played the game was with you, and I think Kyle was in there too.
Yeah, you carried us through one of those DLCs, and I had
that
such
was
a great
so
time
much
with
fun,
that.
dude.
Yeah,
I would love to do that again with this because Legend of Monkey Island has so much humor.
I want to do the Pirates. I didn't do the Pirates of the Caribbean one either. So
all the tall tales they've added have been surprisingly good, like really, really good.
When people say Rare is dead, I always bring this game up. I'm like, this game is really good, guys. We got to stop pretending like this game doesn't exist because
I know working really hard on that.
I mean, you can make an argument if you don't like Sea of Thieves. I totally understand it. Totally get it. It's preference, but they're not dead. They're just singularly focused. Pretty much,
it's doing something that those people don't want.
It's a games of service, basically.
Right. That's it.
Yeah,
it's the same with the team. The same with the team who works on Fortnite. You might be like, well, I wish they would work on whatever IPs some of those teams used to work on. Like, I hear you, but they're a Fortnite team now. And if you like Fortnite, which I personally don't, but if you do,
you're stupid. Oh, sorry. Go ahead.
Then it's amazing the amount of content they're pumping out, and they're just that is like the highest of quality.
It actually feels like a competent shooter, surprisingly.
They took away building, didn't they? Like this.
And that's why I started playing again.
That was like the main.
That's the one thing that I hated about that whole game.
Right.
But it was also its one identity too, so it's kind of weird that they would like abandon that.
It's Fort.
I would get to the end all the time, and someone would build a skyscraper in front of me in a second.
Sure.
They would like shoot me as they're like, I'm like, how do you?
Yeah.
That's dumb.
Yeah. My kids still make fun of me. Like, Dad, the one time I watched you play it, you finished 7th because you hid in some building. I was like, yep.
That's how you win, though, man. You hide till the last 10, and then you go in there and sweep up, man.
That's right. But yeah, so Sea of Thieves, I will absolutely reinstall that and play that again. The game is a blast. Diablo 4's season has started. Derek, haven't heard from you in a while. What do you think? Have you played any of the Diablo 4 content that's come out recently?
The new stuff? No, I just beat the campaign before they released that, and I haven't booted that up yet.
All right. Jeff, I know you played some of it.
Yeah,
Kyle,
the community
maybe
has nothing negative to say about this, so this is gonna be fun to talk about. Yeah.
I think it has like a user score of like 2.6 now because of the,
that's so
the
absurd.
review bomb.
I am willing to bet more than
my word,
more than half of those are people that haven't even played it. They're just like,
it was just the video notes.
They just read about it.
Exactly.
They're like, you guys destroyed the game.
Yeah, I know Kyle didn't
just play forever.
I know Kyle didn't get far because I was online with him and our friends at Play last night, and he was like just starting his new seasonal character, which is that's the catch. We've talked about it before. That's the catch. You got to start a new character pretty much from scratch. Renown resets, like
your money does not carry over. Your nothing carries over. You're in a new realm, so
exactly.
Oh, I thought your renown did carry over.
It carries over. Your only parts of your renown carry over. Only your Lilith statues and one other thing, but everything else you have to redo, like strongholds.
I'm rediscovering Lilith statues. That's about I'm still doing those. But
I still have ones to find.
The only thing that does carry over as well as if you skip the campaign, which is an option when you start a new character for the season, the main towns that have like, you know, all the horses and stuff, like the main towns that have all the vendors, which is like 5 main towns, I think, those quick travel points are unlocked for you. Like that's
the whole map's
that's
not
the only-
unlocked for you, but those 5 towns are. Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I mean, you're pretty much starting over, and you kind of have to be like, okay, I guess we're doing that, and make peace with it. But I'm having fun I chose a rogue, which is what Kyle did the first time, and it looked, because, you know, we played several times together, it looked awesome when he played. So I was like, I want to get in on that, and I chose a ranged build, penetrating shot build, which as enemies get closer to you and you're firing off
almost said something.
Penetrating.
If you're firing off rounds and enemies get
His
close
eyes
to you,
screaming.
they get like
He's gonna
pushed-
use that
they
line
get
on his
pushed way
wife.
back, and
Yeah.
I'm just blowing right
That's-
past it because it's lowest hanging fruit possible. I really couldn't care less
Yeah.
about little jizz jokes.
Penetrating
But-
shot build.
Jeff, I appreciate that you just charged ahead. I'm with you. But I happened to, as you said it, penetrating shot, I just saw Dan go,
Oh no!
Penetrating that low hanging fruit, am I right?
oh my
Oh
god.
boy, there it is.
Yawn and a half.
All right, let me ask you this. Is this something that you, outside of all the chatter around it, whatever, do you recommend for folks who have completed the game and just want more Diablo? Like, is it worth?
I don't yet.
Okay.
I just don't think I'm at level 22, 23 or something like that. And it's just more Diablo, and it's less story focused. Like, it's more objective based, like do 3 dungeons, collect this, build this.
Okay.
And then that moves you forward in your chapter progress. So
Okay,
it's not
gotcha.
so much story driven. I'm even struggling to get motivated to get back into it now that I'm past the first 2 chapters of content.
Right.
I'm in chapter 3, and chapter 3 starts with go do these 3 strongholds, and I'm like, I don't really feel like doing that right now. Strongholds are supposed to be levels above you, like they're at least 2 levels above you, sometimes more. With the patch, some of them are way, way higher above you. So I'm just like, I don't know. I'm struggling to get back into it. So not right now. Maybe if there's a few patches down the road that are like amazing, like it makes it suddenly like more gratifying to play, sure. But I would wait for folks to do that. Like Derek, he beat the game, but I would wait. I'd wait to go back into it.
Well, I think I've already said Diablo 4 is not a game for me. Like, as far as like, I think most of us are this way too. We buy lots of games.
Yeah.
We like to play our games. We like to move on. This seasonal content is for people that are like, I live and breathe Diablo 4.
Definitely.
That's the game I bought for this year.
Yeah,
Right, and for those
think it's
people, I
good
would
for
say
that.
yes, season 1 is absolutely worth it.
Yeah, if you got a
Playing
level
it
100
all the
character
time.
at all, period, just keep playing. Just keep playing
Yeah.
this season. Like you're gonna want to do it anyway.
This content's not technically really for me. I did what I wanted to do. Will I jump in because I paid that extra money to get the 20 levels unlocked, which I thought I was getting unlocked at the beginning of the game, but now I don't get it until season 1. Sure, I'll check that out to see what I got.
Yeah.
But I don't think it's for me. I'm ready to move on. There's plenty of games. In fact, I forgot to say this when we were talking about stuff that's upcoming. The Expanse is coming out. I'm interested in that.
Yeah,
if it
yeah.
reviews well, I'm buying
It's a prequel
that.
too, so if you've never like seen the series, like you can still jump in and enjoy it.
Really? Okay.
Yeah, I was because I'm still working my way through it, so I wasn't gonna play it until I heard that. So
Interesting. Okay, that's good to know.
Yeah.
Kyle, same thoughts on the Diablo 4 stuff from what you've
no,
played?
opposite actually. I'm really enjoing it. It's my social game. I really enjoy getting
Totally
on,
get
and it is a lot of the same stuff, but it is a loop that I enjoy. I have not tired of it, and I'm glad I took a little break before it, but it'll be one that I get on with my buds. Like during the week and stuff like that for a couple hours, and it's not one I'm gonna see. Like I'm not gonna see this character through to a level 100 or anything like that, but I would like to get through the seasonal content and right now, utilize the new mechanic that's only going to be here during this season, which is like Malignant Hearts, which is something I'm still kind of learning about in the game.
Yeah,
but,
they're like gems, but they're
it's like extra gem slots.
Unsocket them. They're totally consumable.
And the enemies are same enemy types, but now they're malignant versions of them.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah,
a little tougher. They get temporary shields. They drop different types of loot. Yeah,
Okay.
and you can for elite bosses or mini bosses, whatever you want to call them. They die once, and it's like Sekiro, I guess. title wise. Anyway, you have to, you can summon them again to get better loot and beat them again, like on the spot. If you want to claim a heart, you have to do that.
Dan heard
Oh, that's
Sekiro.
what I've been doing. Okay, I was
Yeah.
like, why do enemies keep on
best
popping out of these
FromSoft
hearts? Yeah.
Yeah, and that's the thing, when they pop up again, they spawn like 5 extra enemies on top of you. And
Yeah,
you're like,
yeah.
oh
You're,
no,
like, you're redoing that whole fight.
you're pretty much
pretty
just you're redoing the boss. Yeah,
Okay.
which is good for loot, but you know, if you're not, I guess maybe it's just a mood thing for me. But you know, Kyle mentioned the social aspect, and that's the main reason that I logged back in last night.
Yeah, I was
Even though
surprised to see you jump on. I was
Yeah,
like, he
even
was
though I
just
said I was,
bitching
like,
about this
done.
all day, and
Yeah.
he is.
Oh, I thought you hated it, Jeff.
Yeah,
I
yeah.
just wanted to go on there and talk to the fellas about
It's nice.
how much of a feminist Barbie made me. So
And it's easy to jump in. Like if you see a bunch of people that you enjoy playing with that are on, you're like, all right, well that's a low stakes game I can jump into real quick, and
yeah,
we can chat over killing demons.
even if it's like I got 20 minutes before I got to leave the house, what do? I'll just go do a dungeon. Like just do a dungeon and go. Like, you know.
I'll tell you, I think the thing that everyone would be waiting for in terms of like, hey, new story, big stuff, big content would be whenever the first expansion comes out. So you know, I think that will revitalize a lot of the people who are just kind of playing for those reasons. Which I'm half in the door of that and half in the I'm not ever gonna get a character to level 100 like some of my friends have. I just won't, you know. But
and that's probably a 2024, right? Likely, or an expansion for Diablo.
Probably.
4.
I would not foresee anything coming out this year. Yeah.
It's got to be 24. Okay.
Yeah, because season 1's going till October, so like
they'll do a few seasons before they would do that.
I think so. I bet it'll be like 3 seasons in.
They'll do a few seasons before they do DLC, or I'm sorry, expansion. Yeah.
Yeah. Right.
It'll probably be a full year. I really do think they're gonna do the
right
Destiny 2 thing.
Yeah,
Destiny
that
2.
would be smart on there.
Where it's almost like a new game release with how big the expansion
and it will be something like that. Yeah, for sure.
Yep.
They'll add in a couple extra acts or something like that.
I tell you what, I will say this: the way Diablo 4 ended, if they release story expansions, I'm all in because I enjoyed the ending.
Very cool story. Very cool ending.
Nice.
I definitely want to know what happens next with what they set up. Yeah.
Well, other DLC that came out this past week is the 5th of 6 booster packs for Mario Kart 8 Deluxe. And so new courses, new characters to use, all that stuff. I haven't played it myself. I do have it downloaded on my Switch to try. I just haven't tried the new courses or characters yet. Have any of you tried those yet?
Yeah,
I haven't used my Switch in a while.
I beat all of the
new courses. Okay.
Yeah, and I played. Awesome. There's 3 characters. There's Hammock.
There's the little like caterpillar guy that gets mad.
Yes, yeah, Wiggler. That's his name. Petey Piranha, which is the flower piranha thing.
Yeah, that's a great. That's
a fun one, especially in a tiny go. I love putting big things in tiny ass little go karts. It's so fun. I played through all these. These were none of these courses I recognized because they were all from titles that I hadn't played. It was all Tour and GameCube, Wii. There's a couple new courses. Well, actually, there was one new course, Squeaky Clean Sprint.
Isn't it crazy how much new content they made for their mobile version of this game?
No kidding.
Yeah,
they made a lot of new. Like, I would have thought that would have been a great chance. Mobile market's going to be very different potentially from your main market. You can just rehash old courses, but they created a lot of new courses for that game. That's crazy to me.
So fun, dude. It's just like the other waves that came out. It's so fun, and I love just the courses themselves feel like there's variety to them.
Do you have a favorite
on each lab?
Course
from this one, I would have to look at some pictures of it.
It's just a good reminder too that like this is the best version of this kind of game. Like there's a lot of other good ones out there. Disney Speedstorm was a lot of fun. They did a good job with that. The Sonic Race games.
This is like the unreachable, king. Like who shall never be.
There's a city one from the Wii.
Yeah. It's like platformers with Mario. It's like there's a lot of really good ones.
Yeah, like Rayman's great, but it's not Mario, you know?
Yeah,
Rayman's super good though, but
Dude, those last 2 Rayman games are excellent.
They're so good. They're not Mario, but they're so good.
They're so good.
Yeah.
I laughed more in those than I ever laughed in Mario.
I do too.
Sure,
I kind of like the charm more too, and like
yeah.
Whatever the other one was.
Origins.
Thank you.
Yeah.
The highway one was really good. It reminded me of, I don't know, just got a bunch of nostalgic vibes, even though it was a Wii track I'd never played.
I remember I'm pretty sure I remember that level. So
yeah, there was variations on it from previous like iterations like SNES and stuff like that.
I loved Mario Kart Wii. There's something about also like you waggle the remote on the jumps and stuff to get that little boost of speed. Like, man,
yeah.
I don't think I ever played it. I think my family was just more obsessed with the Wii Sports, and that's it.
That game was fun.
Yeah, the GameCube one was good too. Double Dash.
It's my
Yeah.
favorite.
People
Double
yeah,
Dash.
they added
So
one of the
good.
tracks from that in
Double
this.
Dash, yep.
Daisy Cruiser is the name of the track.
Yep. All right, a couple major movies have come out in the last couple of weeks. We need to make sure we talk about, mainly just because everyone on this podcast is a fan of movies, some more than others, but we all love a good movie. And current cinema, we got to start getting that to come back. There's so many movies to talk about. So let's get
equal amounts of games. That's why
like a 7-hour episode.
So let's call this Current Cinema Corner here for our main Current Gen podcast.
I love it.
So this is Current Cinema Corner. Let's talk about some of these movies. Let's go back a week first before we talk about Barbenheimer, which is out this weekend.
Yes.
Last week we had Mission Impossible. Was it last week or 2 weeks ago? 2 weeks ago.
You're right. Last week. Yeah.
It was last week? Okay.
Feels like forever ago. Yeah.
It does.
It does,
Mission
yeah,
Impossible,
God.
Dead Reckoning Part 1. It's a bit of a mouthful.
I know what it is. It came out on a Wednesday. That's why. It feels like.
That's why it's in my head.
Oh yeah, people were seeing it Tuesday and Monday. Early screenings as early as Monday and Sunday.
Like the 11th.
Yeah, I was seeing it on Monday.
Yeah, you were seeing the desktop error screen.
All right, so let's start with you, Derek. Did you get a chance to see this yet?
Yeah, I actually got to see it this morning. I went to a 9 a.m. showing of Mission Impossible. And as I was saying, I originally was supposed to see it Monday, July 10th, so 12 days ago.
Okay.
And I just sat in a theater for 2 hours looking at a white screen because they couldn't get it to work.
It was some kind of error that popped up, like a computer error looking thing.
How would nobody from the theater come in and go, "Hey, sorry, everybody, we're
they
having
did.
No kidding.
20 minutes in, I don't think he was the manager, but he was somebody, and he was like, "Hey, this happened earlier. It takes like 15, 20 minutes. We'll get it fixed. Just please be patient. We're so sorry, but I promise you're watching this." And then I waited 40 minutes after that, and I'm like, dude, is he going to update us? Because it's definitely been more than 15 or 20 minutes. He comes back up. He's like, "So sorry, we're still running into issues, but we're definitely going to get it to work. We got free passes for you guys." So he goes around, hands out free passes. And then I wait another, I want to say at this point, because I got there 30 minutes early, so I waited like another half an hour. I was like, you know what, man? Even if this movie does start by 9 o'clock, it's going to go to 12. My first meeting is at 6 a.m. I'm not guaranteed 6 hours of sleep. I'm not going to do well. So I was like, I got to go. So I left, and I was like, hey, can you guys, like, listen, I pay monthly for this. So you giving me a free ticket does absolutely nothing for me. So they gave me free popcorn and a free soda, but I never eat at the theaters. But I'll try to use it when I take my kids to Barbenheimer. But anyway, so I didn't get to see it then. And the reason I share that is because this was the movie I was most excited for. There's a ton of good movies that have come out. Yeah. This is the movie that I was like, I cannot wait for this to come out. And that's why I made sure I got first screening that I could get. But I did finally get to, because my schedule's been crazy the last couple weeks, I finally got to go see it this morning. I have to say, as a big fan, okay, so I rewatched all 6 previous movies, and the only movie I didn't like was 2.
Yeah,
that's natural.
Sure. Yeah, that's because it's the only bad one.
Yeah.
But 4 or 5, I want to say this one fits somewhere in between like my 3rd or 4th favorite, because I don't know if I like 4. I know I like 5 and 6 better. I don't remember if I like 4 more, but it fits somewhere in there. It's a really good movie. I think it's hurt a little bit by being a part 1, part 2. So I think once part 2 comes out, it'll definitely be like, I love the fact that they did that type thing. But overall, it was a lot of fun. I love Tom Cruise, and I've never been a big Tom Cruise fan, but the last like 10 years, I've been like, you know what, dude? Anything you do, I'm gonna.
He makes hit after hit. Like
he puts butts in seats, man. The guy's just
he does.
He's in good movies.
I think it's also like maybe he's being fake. I don't know. I'm not here to diagnose that. I think it's his personality. I think it's he doesn't get involved in anything. He's not your typical Hollywood. I really genuinely believe him when he says
doesn't get involved in anything anymore. Except for the hard
except for
way.
fake religions, but other than that.
Yeah, but I'm
but
not
he
talking
doesn't
about
he doesn't parade that
Yeah,
like now.
right.
It's like
he's
Oh, no,
not
the
forcing
movie
anything
and,
down anybody's throat. He just gets on screen and says, "Hey guys, I'm doing this for you." Again, that could be fake, but to a certain extent, it feels like, "Hey, this is like I do this for you guys."
It's good messaging, even if it's fake.
Yeah, it's good PR for sure. Absolutely. And I'm buying in, I'm here for it. I'm throwing myself off this mountain on a motorcycle for you guys. Sure, just do it. Yeah, but whatever.
Dude,
yeah.
I gotta tell you,
I actually want to say
Tom Cruise is one of the more reliable blockbuster stars.
1,000%.
He is.
I want to say this. I will say in my opinion, the trailers ruined the best parts of the movie for me, because I was able to go, I know what you're going to do here. I know what's going to happen here. And I was like, man, this is now where I wish I would have not watched the trailers, because I would have been like, well, how's this going to play out? Now I knew how it was going to play out, and I was just waiting for them to do it as they took their time to do it. I'm like, hey,
it was such a slow build to the main stunt of the movie. Oh my god!
I already know what you're doing.
Yeah, I already know what you're doing.
I'm not going to spoil it for you guys
ways.
who haven't seen it, but even the end of the movie, I'm like, hey, I know how this movie's going to end. Now, did they dramatize it way more? And I went, okay, I didn't expect that. But I still had a general idea, and it was all from trailers. And that kind of bums me out. So I need to start being a little bit stricter
in the trailers.
There's a trailer problem we have with most movies.
Oh,
yeah. I need
sure.
to be more stricter that if I know I'm going to see something or I'm going to play something, I really do need to start going, you know what, you just stay away from the trailers.
I've barely watched actual full trailers start to finish for this. I kind of got glimpses of it and
I would
totally
highly recommend
You know who's able to nail the trailers nowadays is folks like Christopher Nolan, who have a pull in the community in the marketing of his movies, I guess. Because Oppenheimer trailered, and I couldn't tell you.
I don't know.
I couldn't tell you a single thing that they showed in the trailer that I was like, I wish I didn't see that. They just showed
understand
boring shots of the trailer.
Do the same thing with stuff like Tenet, right? I didn't know what Tenet was.
Yeah,
he's so good at that. Yeah, Inception 2, where I didn't know what that movie was about until I was watching it. I'm like, okay.
Interstellar showed hardly any space travel. Maybe the space station spinning around a little bit.
It was mostly McConaughey crying really hard.
It was mostly him on the farm. Yeah.
It was mostly the farm.
Or in the spaceship itself. Yeah.
Right. Yeah, that's kind of wild.
I get that you're trying to get people to buy tickets, but I really think for know who you are and know what the movie is. I don't think Tom Cruise is the type that hey, we got to show a lot of action. Really, dude, you should just be like, we're releasing a new Mission Impossible. Trust me, it's good, and I'll go see it.
Yeah,
I'll go see it.
Yeah, I'm with you. Sometimes it can come across a little bit needy when you show too much of your good stuff in the trailer, and it's you don't need to be that way.
Especially because
some movies do. But
what they did not show in the trailer was this. There's such an amazing car chase scene. It's so inventive, even for where we are in the history of cinema. With car chases and how many we've gotten, especially
Jason Bourne's got some sick
in
car
the
chases.
not even
Bourne's
that. John Wick 4 this year had one of the best car chases. Period. Or scenes involving cars. Period. So
Italian Job. We've got
the fact that Mission Impossible measured up to that, in my opinion, with this, they were driving around in a similar to Bourne, a tiny car, and you're like, how are they still coming up with inventive ways to blow my mind? And that was nowhere in the trailers, and that was in the first act somewhere. So it's a little disappointing they didn't put any of that. But
quick current cinema sidebar. What are some of the best car chase movies? Just without saying too much about them. I think Ronan's
one of the all-time best for sure.
Yeah.
Fury Road is a car chase.
Fury Road is one long 2-hour car chase sequence.
And maybe the movie itself is pretty cheesy, although I really enjoyed it. But the car chases in Gone in 60 Seconds had some great car chases.
I love that movie's got great car sequences in the movie.
Go. Yeah.
Let's go.
Yeah, that's a good. Me and Jeff have done that list before, so
yeah, we did. I don't remember if it was on current cinema or not, but
there might have been Enter Tournament of Champions.
Might have been.
Yeah, no, we definitely did there because I remember doing
and then we mentioned Bourne too. I think the first Bourne was a really good car
Italian Job.
There's some real good ones out there.
I loved Fast 5. I was a huge apologist for that call, where they're dragging a safe around. That
sequence is amazing. Yeah,
that sequence is so great. It was before they got way too cartoonish. It was still cartoonish, but not to the level where it's stop, just stop, guys.
Yeah.
What are you doing? And that's the thing that Mission Impossible does. That's such a great franchise to compare it to, how are they 7 movies in now to Mission Impossible
and not being eye-rolly ridiculous.
Yeah, and not being so cringy and like
still being
the action isn't
inventive
too
and-
stupid and
Ethan Hunt goes to space.
Right.
yeah, exactly. It's
They're
even
saving that for part
which
2.
he is doing that, but he's
Yeah.
doing it for a totally non-Mission Impossible movie. So it's like even he knows that's too ridiculous. I'm not doing it in Mission Impossible.
Multiverse.
Yeah.
Anyway, I love this movie to bits too, and I put it somewhere around the same as Derek. I think I have such a maybe it's nostalgia, but I still think the first Mission Impossible movie is just masterfully crafted.
I rewatched it with my son, and he loved it too. It was his first time seeing it. It's very dated, but like
that's
good.
I don't think the going into the CIA building part where he's being lowered. I don't think any of that is dated. Like it looks still amazing.
No, just more like the way that characters look and some of the clothes and just some of the shots kind of it feels older, but it still works. Even my son was like, "Dude, this movie is awesome." Because I can tell it was made a long time ago, but it's he loves.
No, I agree. I agree with the way that like some of the dialogue is presented. That feels
and the technology was the biggest giveaway.
For sure.
The first one and the second one have like the same like I don't know if it's IMDb score or something like same score, and I was like, how? How does the first?
Yeah, there are some people that love the
score?
show, the Mission Impossible show,
the old
that actually
show.
hate the movie.
That hate the movie,
the first movie so much.
And they think of
good.
Ethan Hunt as a certain thing, and then Tom Cruise came along and changed it. My favorite so far though of all, I still like 3 the best. Although the newer ones are probably objectively better in a lot. 3's my favorite. I think Philip Seymour Hoffman.
Yeah, I would put 6 and 5 are at the top for me in that order, and then I would go 1. And then 7, this new one. Then 3 and 4 are like a toss-up for me. Because I love them both, but they're very different. Like 4 is when it started to become more of a spectacle. He's climbing buildings, but the story is just like I don't care.
3 was so
I don't
personal.
know.
I loved how personal.
Yeah, 3 is very personal.
And it worked really well.
I'm gonna
really,
kill
really
you
well.
in front of her. I'm gonna find
Dude,
her.
Philip Seymour Hoffman. I was just like, as soon as I watched, I got
sad
sad immediately. I was like, oh, I love this guy.
God, I love the throat clearing scene too, where it's like his voice isn't ready yet.
Yeah.
He's like,
and he's like, he's doing wool to the guy.
Oh,
he's wooling.
Yeah.
Wooling before wooling was a thing.
He's wooling. All right, so I'm hoping to see that one this week. We'll see if that plays out. One I am definitely seeing this weekend because it's.
I forgot to shout out. I'm so sorry. My favorite character in Dead Reckoning was a new one, and it was Mantis's character, Palm, whatever her last name is. She barely says anything. When she does talk, she's French, but she is such an imposing figure in this movie.
That's where I recognize her from. She's very hot too. I was very
attractive. Yeah,
I was very attracted.
But like, she's such a badass in this movie. She kicks so much ass, and she has.
Well,
such
that was
great
part of my
outfits.
attraction to her. Was that she was just like.
Yeah, she's just mean mugging the whole time and like, oh my god,
mean mugging.
Yeah.
She was so bad the entire time. I'm like, yeah, I'm used to women being that way. I'm attracted to you, right?
That's awesome.
Derek's like, please beat me.
Well,
Please.
I'm planning on Sunday, and I told you guys about this in the chat, but on Sunday it sounds like my wife and I are going to go see the Barbie movie and then follow it up with some Chipotle. So it's going to be a fantastic afternoon / evening. Looking forward to that.
Sounds like a good date.
Yeah, it should be. I've heard Barbie's very funny. There are people who hate it for whatever reason, but for the most part, really positive reviews from critics. Like every movie, there's conversation around what they're actually trying to say, and I get that. That's fine. But overall, it sounds like a pretty funny, well done flick. Is that true from your experience?
By the way, this art behind me, I just stole it from like DeviantArt. I don't know who it's by. Oh, the King Blader. All right. Anyway, I just wanted to shout that out because it's clearly an amateur, but it looks amazing. The color clashing is just incredible.
I love it.
But Barbie's very funny. And what I've been comparing it to the most is Anchorman because it's so dumb, but it's so funny.
Well,
you know what my wife said when she saw the trailer? She goes, "The vibe reminds me of Down with Love, that old Ewan McGregor movie." I don't know if it's like that.
Seen it.
Oh, okay. Ewan McGregor and Renee Zellweger. No. Okay.
No,
I'm familiar with it. Yeah, I never saw it though.
It's like a stage play, kind of tongue in cheek, a lot of like winks and nods to the camera style humor. It's like a musical without music. So anyway, but the Barbie trailer
there's actually music in this.
Okay. I'm saying Down with Love.
No, I know.
Way. Oh, okay. I'm just saying this gave us similar vibes. Mm-hmm. So anyway, go ahead.
You'll see what I'm talking about. It'll feel like the humor will feel like an Adam McKay movie when you hear some of the jokes that they're saying, and they're very quick. In fact, that's the only difference, is that the script is very intentional, and the jokes are very fast paced and quickly said and uttered, and it'll catch you off guard a lot. But like Ryan Gosling's humor, his timing, Will Ferrell is in the movie. He's in the trailers and stuff. He plays like the main. He's not a bad guy. He's like the CEO.
The Mattel
of Mattel.
CEO.
Yeah, but he is so. They just let him do his thing basically, where he's like, he says something. I can't remember what it is. Where he says like, I don't know. He says an abbreviation for something, and then he's so impressed that he came up with it. He starts to nudge the people next to him, and he's like, "Did you hear what I just said?" And I feel like that was Will Ferrell just doing his thing and not in the script, and they were just kind of letting him do his thing. But that's hardly the only moment that he has where you're like, okay, this guy's just stupid funny. It's great. Michael Cera's character I loved as well. He plays a doll named Alan, which is I googled it. I had to. This is a real doll. He's like Ken's friend or something from a line that's since been like discontinued. But every time they introduce him, they're always like, yeah, then there's Alan. He's just there.
Michael Cera's perfect for that kind of a role.
It's so funny. Yeah. And Ken says things aloud like, I just need Barbie to acknowledge me, then I'll have a good day. Like they say things aloud like that are very blatant and stupid. Yeah. When they first go into the real world together, Barbie goes up to some guys that are like hitting on them. I think they're construction workers. And she's like, just to let you know, I don't have genitals and neither does my friend Ken here. Like they're being very literal with
it's a little like Elf for the first Enchanted a little bit where there's okay.
Exactly. Yeah. And the funny part too, like when I first saw the trailer, I was like, what's this Barbie Land thing? Why does it look weird? Why are they flying around? Why is she fake eating stuff and fake drinking stuff? And then they explain that, if you're in Barbie Land, they're mirroring how kids are playing with the dolls. So that's why everything looks very fake. And nobody really has any motivations. They're just kind of there to be like...
They just do things because kids are playing with them to do the
thing. Exactly. They wave like really funny.
So like I'm trying to get a vibe. Like overall, it seems like you liked this movie.
Yeah, I did. There was a part in the third act where it gets a little lectury and there's no subtlety about it. So we're going to be having discussions about that, at least in our chat or whenever after you see it, we'll bring it up on the podcast again. But that's where some of the sentiment is coming from, and because
so you think some of that might be kind of fair? They could have done a better job with some of that, maybe.
Some of that, yeah, because there was a tweet that somebody said that I liked that was like, yeah, this would have been a great speech if it was the first time I'd ever heard of feminism in my life, like, but it's not. I mean, that's the thing
that's pretty good.
The movie is appealing to people. Funny. It's trying to appeal to a broader audience that isn't online all the time like I am or like some of us might
maybe be. Fair.
So maybe there's a lack of. They're counting on people's either ignorance to the discussion to be able to get away with some of the things they're saying.
No, it's just women repeating themselves. Come on, man. Come on. They're just repeating the point over and over.
So, I mean, Jeff, we've talked about this before. Like sometimes the art of subtlety is lost a little bit, and just certain not in an entire movie or entire TV series, but I don't want to keep harping on Captain Winter Soldier show, whatever that was, Falcon Winter Soldier.
Winter Captain, sure.
Winter Falcon. Winter Falcon.
Winter Falcon. There you go.
Wow. But no, like it's like an overall really fun, really solid show that just happened to have some very on the nose, not at all subtle preaching moments. It's like one or two, maybe three.
It goes even harder in Barbie because they're kind of explaining these ideas to all audiences.
It's just a bummer to me. I'm like, man, it could be so much more impactful to show, not tell. And I think that art has been lost in a lot of ways.
I think that once you get past that, once you get past the slight or exaggerated eye rolling you might do at that one moment that I'm thinking of in particular, they do actually address things on a different side that I thought was interesting, but they could have gone a little further with it. But yeah, it is interesting the direction they chose to go. I did also feel the third act was just in general felt very rushed. Like we got to get this movie out the door, guys. We got to finish this movie.
They wanted to resolve the story. It.
Yeah. Let's go. But there's still humor in that third act, even if I thought it was messy. So I mean, I overall really liked it, but it's no Oppenheimer, dude. Let me tell you.
Yeah. So my only, based on just some of the general reviews I've read, not so much just public opinion, but like general reviews I've read, it doesn't sound like it's super kid friendly, like for my 9 or 10-year-old to go to, like a little girl going to see someone just because of the, like, as an adult we would watch this and be like, yeah, it wasn't that bad. But from what I've read, there's an incredible amount of like sexual innuendo stuff. So for a movie
there's
that's
websites you can go to verify that.
And
too.
I did. I went and looked. I think it was like Common Sense or something I was looking at, but
Yeah.
It was just a parenting one where it lists stuff, and the list of all the innuendo and sexual talk and stuff. It wasn't even the swearing. It was like just the stuff they're talking about with sex and body
I
parts.
wouldn't even say there was that much swearing like at all. They were
Right.
always using double entendres and stuff
But
like
at that list
Yeah.
of that, I was like, I don't want to sit there and explain this to my daughter in the theater.
Yeah,
Like, so
right.
that to me is kind of a bummer because, like you said,
She's talking
it
about
seems
his penis.
it seems to be targeting a young audience. It seems very kid friendly, but that doesn't necessarily sound like it's.
I think they
and
were
it's
going
PG
for teens and adults.
Yeah, it's PG-13, and I'm like, why would you? But it's Barbie though. Like, why would you PG-13ize it? Like, there's a whole part early on in the movie where there's a bunch of Kens that are threatening to fight each other, and when they fight each other, they call it a beach off. But the way that they were saying it, it was in the trailer. The way they were saying it was, "Hey man, I'll beat you off right here. I'll beat you off by myself." Like the way they kept saying it, I was like, kids are not going to understand why adults are laughing so hard at this part.
But see, that's a funny joke for adults. Like that's very clever, but it's like, that's not going to work to take my little kid.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, it's a little too close to the real thing. So,
I mean, they did it smartly back in like
That's
like
okay. She's got a bunch of mediocre kid movies this summer, so it's fine.
Mark, just
I was gonna say like those like Pixar, DreamWorks movies like do that well, right? Where there's enough there for adults to laugh and be like, oh, I caught that. I get
a little
like Inside Out,
goes
which
right
I
over a
think is
kid's
masterpiece.
head.
Yeah,
yeah. You're right, Dan. That's true.
Yeah.
So like it can be done, you know.
Yeah. So Barbie is, I mean, it's PG-13. So I mean, you got to look at the rating and be like, well, it's rated that for a reason, I guess. But it is kind of baffling from a writing perspective why they
even with all this chat around it though. Like, I'm excited to go see it with my wife on a date. I think we'll laugh at it and think it's funny, and I'm looking forward to it. It looks like a good time.
And if you start eye rolling at the end, I expect it honestly at this point because just because I know you guys, like those of you that see it, I expect some eye rolls, and I'll actually, on some level relate to that. But like when you kind of, I don't know, when you kind of get over it, I guess you kind of have to do that. There's still some really funny stuff after it where they make fun of movie nerds. They make fun of the Snyder Cut. Oh, I love that joke.
Man, dude, this Snyder shit.
Oh man, it's so funny. The
lately.
Twitter guys are so mad about the Snyder.
Take shots at Snyder. This is not a movie that I'm looking at going into saying this is for me. I'm a mega fan. This is more like, hey, this is something that we'll be able to laugh at.
It's definitely for hoorah women. Actually, there's another tweet that I like that was like, this is almost like the Instagram biography. Instagram bio of like a woman. Oh, God damn, what is it? What did they say? This was coming an opinion from another woman. So it wasn't like some neckbeard complaining or anything.
I will say this before we talk about Oppenheimer. I'm okay when there's, especially when we're eating as well as we are with movies, good guy action movies this year, and video games that are just clicking for me. When a game or movie comes out that I'm like, this isn't a Tim game, and that's 100% okay. Because,
it's okay,
because
it's
there's
okay
so
if it doesn't
much
work.
For me.
Yeah, but the fact that y'all are making a date of it, and you have, depending on your feelings on the movie, either an extra present with Chipotle after, or a palate cleanser with Chipotle after. So I mean, either way. Here's what they said. It was basically a verbalized Instagram infographic from a cringy girl boss page. So that's, and they're talking about a very specific moment in the movie, not the whole movie. It's a very specific, like 30-second scene.
Yeah. Cool.
So yeah.
All right, and then on the very polar opposite of that, what a hilarious weekend for these two movies. We've got Oppenheimer, the next Nolan flick. Now, we're going to keep this not only brief for the sake of time, but also because I know, Kyle, you haven't seen it yet, or did you go see it today?
Every showing on Earth is sold out.
Okay.
So like I could not get tickets this weekend.
So I want to be super sensitive.
Dude.
I want to be super sensitive to that. I don't want to at all spoil your experience with it, even like a hint of stuff, but just general overall take. Oppenheimer, next big Nolan movie. How was it? And is IMAX a requirement if you're going to go see this in the theaters? Did you see it in IMAX?
No, I saw it in XD, which is Cinemark's.
Okay, still pretty good though.
It's almost their IMAX, basically.
Right,
it's still a huge screen that takes up the whole wall,
sure.
And not part of it like regular
and booming sound.
screens.
Still, yeah.
Yes, exactly. So I still got the benefit of the full theatrical experience, but I don't see a point in seeing a 3-hour movie where I would say 15/16 of it are people talking. So I don't know what the value is of IMAX. And that's just me personally. But obviously, if you feel like you need to see it in IMAX, please do it. I mean, it's going to be gorgeous.
No, I'm glad to have that
shot
confirmed.
It all IMAX,
I'm so glad you confirmed that, because I saw that, hey, this is a biopic. There's going to be a lot of talking. And I don't mind that when I'm watching it at home and I can kind of like do other things while it's happening. I was like, on IMAX? Why is this kicking Mission Impossible out of IMAX? And I get it. It's Nolan. He shoots his stuff on that. I get it.
Did you see
Could
the
it be
film
like
reels? I think
scenery, like the scenery?
I wouldn't even say that. No.
Like the explosion.
Because there's so many close-ups of people talking to each other in their faces. Like I just don't.
Okay.
Especially because there's
but like the
drama
XD
stuff.
screen, which we have one of those here. You're saying that's worth seeing on that. Okay.
Definitely.
I'll do that.
Yeah, especially where the only moments where there's like explosions happening would be the one time they show the bomb going off. And then there's parts in between where they show panic attacks in this movie in a very interesting way that kind of mirrors either the universe or what he feels his mind is going through when it comes to bombs and stuff. And that could be interesting in surround sound IMAX type of experience. But I'm talking brief glimpses of like moments where he feels like something's happening, but it's actually not. He's kind of like, going through some sort of crisis internally. He captured that brilliantly, by the way. I had to explain to the guy next to me, who I didn't know. We talked after the movie. I was like, this movie like depicted panic attacks like so accurately. Like I didn't expect that. Nolan's not the filmmaker I expected to do something like that. He's normally like not that this isn't a high concept movie or anything, but he's normally like a high concept sci-fi, whatever. Like Dunkirk even had those like thousands of extras in that one scene. So like he's more about the spectacle of a thing and not so much the intimate personal details of somebody. And this is his most intimate movie about a person. Like it's about Oppenheimer from beginning to end. And I feel like there's a multitude of themes that you can dissect here that feel more real. Like Inception themes are definitely real to some extent, but a lot of those come from a sci-fi place, like an invented reality.
Yeah.
Tenet as well, Interstellar as well. But this movie is about a real dude, and it's forcing the audience to kind of reckon with a very powerful weapon that the people that had this extraordinary knowledge, they were kind of cursed to share it, and it's not so much going, look at this amazing bomb. It's not like, hoorah, America. It's just saying it's nuanced. Like,
so the high concept isn't some sci-fi thing that you're going to struggle to understand even after the movie's over. Instead, it's the high concept is a human being and trying to get into their emotion and how their brains work. And I like that, man. I think that's brilliant.
The movie looks at knowledge, which he has with quantum physics knowledge and stuff like that, quantum science, as more of a burden and a curse and not so much a gift that you need to share with the world that we should be celebrating, because, look at how entire countries, the entire world behaves because of what this invention was.
I will say, hey, just shift to the side a little bit.
Think about stuff in a different
so I can see Killian. Let me shift to the side a little bit because Cillian Murphy in that shot, dude. I just finished watching Peaky Blinders. That's all I'm seeing when I see him in that, and I understand like he's a very different character, but it's hard. It's gonna be hard for me to shake that.
I wouldn't be surprised if that's one of the reasons why he got the role. Like he's obviously worked with Nolan in a lot of movies.
Right.
But I wouldn't be surprised if he's like, this is the role for you based off of what I've seen you do with Peaky Blinders as well. Like that
he
type
kind
of
talks. I've never heard Oppenheimer until there's like an interview that he gave in the 60s when he was like 60 or 50. I've never heard him talk, but Killian's accent, what he chose for this was like it sounded like a radio host from the 40s. So like, here today we're going to do this and this and this.
Oh, interesting.
So like it's very much an accent from that era. That's what it sounds like. And I hope this movie also brings back people's desire to wear hats like that and suits all the time.
Yeah, man.
Dude,
that was such a great fashion sense.
He's crushing it.
And that famous picture of Oppenheimer where he's wearing that suit and smoking the cigarette, like when those two pictures are together, they look pretty similar. So,
and Cillian, that's all he had to
I'll
go
always say first that Cillian is Nolan's guy. So it's like whenever Nolan's like, hey, I'm coming up with a movie that's about a deeply personal character, like I'm sure Cillian was always at the top of his list because like he just loves using him for like deeper roles and stuff. Right. So but they do look strangely alike too. So
no, not Interstellar. He hasn't been in a movie since like Dark Knight Rises, I want to say. He hasn't been in a Nolan movie since then, right?
Yeah, because he wasn't in Tenet either. Yeah, that's right.
Yeah. He was in Dunkirk.
Yeah.
Shit, I forgot about Dunkirk. I need to stop forgetting about that. I feel like this movie would not have happened without Dunkirk, honestly, because I feel like the World War II era was like Nolan was like, no,
this
I got
awoken something in him to be like, I want to tell that story next,
Yeah. But I mean, even to people that aren't like history buffs or whatever, there's something very interesting about the enigma of Oppenheimer and Los Alamos, the entire project, that I feel like it's well worth watching in this. To see how much politics drove that project, and Matt Damon's character plays like a general who was like in charge of that project, and he is so funny, and he's so great at being like this direct, no nonsense guy. He injects a lot of humor in the movie, but like seeing that tightrope dance that Oppenheimer, who was like the speaker for the scientists, you know, he's having to explain to politicians and military alike of like why we need this, why we need this, why we need this. Like, it's just very interesting how they had to kind of put it together.
So this will blow him up real good, you're saying?
So there's a moment in the trailer where he's like, they worked out the theory. They worked out the theory to the point where, okay, look, if we set this off, it's going to be near zero that it destroys the atmosphere of the entire world. And Oppenheimer explains that, I think, like a week or so before the test. And he explains like, yeah, there's like a near zero chance that it's going to blow up our like go into the atmosphere and then explode our entire world. And Damon's like, near zero? Like, he's like, what do you want? It's theory. And he's like, zero.
I want zero.
I want zero. This is America. I want
That's
zero.
true. That is the practicality behind science. Is like, you can theorize something to death, but you know, putting it in action is what can confirm it or deny it. You know,
Right.
So,
Yeah, I am excited to see this one. And
Scary time.
Good call on like the XD or even standard compared to IMAX. It's just so much more money. I want to save that money for when it's like must see.
Mission Impossible does feel like it would benefit from an IMAX screening, in my opinion.
Real quick, putting you on the spot, Kyle. I know you're probably the biggest Nolan fan out of all of us. I could be wrong. I feel like you're the biggest Nolan fan out of all of us, right? Whatever.
Yeah,
Who cares? If you had to pick, like, what's been your favorite Nolan flick up to this point? Maybe top two or something.
I can answer it.
That is in the spot. I like Inception. I mean, I always come back to just like that movie blowing my mind and everything.
Yeah.
But gosh, The Prestige maybe is my underdog favorite.
Memento
So,
is mine.
if I had to say it again,
Memento.
Memento's great as well. You know, yeah. If I had to champion an underdog, it'd probably be Prestige. You know,
I love Prestige. I actually
Yeah.
didn't know that was him until like years after I saw it. I was like,
yeah,
oh,
that's one of his lowest rated movies. Yeah,
I
and
love
lowest
that
viewed
movie.
movies too. Yeah, and what a cast and what a just a brilliant twist. That's so it's so telegraphed. Like
I
when you
know.
watch it a second time, you're like,
I know.
It's not like an M. Night Shyamalan twist where it's like, we just wrote a different movie at the end, you know? But I absolutely love that.
Yeah, I love the twist. Not just it's more like a reveal, but like
it's more like a reveal.
Like the
More
fourth or
reveal.
fifth time I watched it, I started to see the differences between the twins.
Hey, easy with the spoilers.
Sorry. It's an old movie, guys. I don't know.
It is. Also, it was a great way to see Hugh Jackman do something that wasn't like Wolverine, big.
Hugh
tough-
Jackman
I
was awesome
love
in this
quoting
movie.
his lines in that movie.
Jackman?
Oh my gosh, I don't know
Yeah.
why
He was
I
great.
love it. But
was
there's
great.
a part.
Christian Bale's
he's
great.
bullying-
When are these guys not great though? You know, so.
I know.
I know.
That's true.
Yeah.
They're always terrible in movies.
Also, you had
Right.
wasn't
So
David Bowie
terrible.
Tesla in that?
Yes.
He was. David Bowie was awesome in that movie.
Nolan,
yeah.
like,
Great.
I
And
think
Andy
Nolan
Serkis was his
personally-
assistant.
Andy Serkis was his helper. Yeah.
I think
Ugh.
Nolan personally visited
cast.
Bowie to get him in the movie because Bowie was not really open to phone calls or letters. Nolan was like, "I'm going to your house, dude, and I'm going to knock on your door and ask you to be in this movie because you're perfect for Tesla." And he was right.
Another fun recent Nolan story was that Matt Damon, he's been on a sabbatical from acting for like the last couple years, but he had a deal with his wife that if Chris Nolan called, that overrules, him coming back from his little break. So whenever he did call to play this role in Oppenheimer, his wife and him just knew that he had to do it. So Christopher
by the
Nolan's
way,
that guy, people want
Chris
to work
Nolan
with
is
him.
that
He
guy
picks
for
up
a
the
lot of
phone
people.
or he
He is
shows
that
up to
guy.
your house like he did for Bowie.
Spielberg used to be that guy, and maybe he still is for some people, but like now I feel like
Yeah,
Nolan's
right.
kind of that guy. Yeah.
He gets movies made. Like no one on earth is bankrolling a 3-hour movie about Oppenheimer,
Right,
But
no.
Chris
Right.
Nolan pitches it, and suddenly
and he
someone's
was able
throwing
to
money.
he was able to math his way around not having to do CG for the
I
entire
was gonna
movie.
say he does practical everything.
Yeah.
Yeah, and
I
they
was
shot
not-
in 57
movie.
days too. Like it's record-breaking days. Like it's crazy.
Anybody else makes this movie, I have zero interest. And I
Right.
even
Yeah.
still struggle. Even I go on all the Facebook comments, they're like, it's a masterpiece, you gotta see this, blah, blah, and I'm like, I'm having trouble buying this, man. I'm having trouble buying this. I love Christopher Nolan. I'm not gonna say I'm a bigger fan than Kyle, but he's my favorite. Like, if his name's attached, I go see it. So it's like hard for me with this movie because I'm like, this isn't what I want from Nolan. I want something. I like the twists.
I like when it's a new concept. I'm with you.
Yeah, I like
stuff
when he throws me
that's
off.
his wheelhouse for sure.
He's way smarter than me, so I
felt
like
this
that.
was I mean, there's still an intelligence to this movie where it's like it deceptively makes you think about things that you did not plan to think about going into the movie, that you're like, oh, is this like his deepest movie? Holy crap. Like,
it's similar to Dunkirk because it's a set story that you already know happened in history. So Dunkirk and this are both like stories that happen, but he's going to tell it in his unique Nolan way. And I think that alone is worth it.
Yeah, there's a lot of jumping through, like he does in every movie, jumping through time periods. And the way that he does it here makes it feel like a Sorkin script, especially because the way people are, rattling at each other, like exchanging insults. Very quick, fast-paced at times, especially when Matt Damon meets Oppenheimer for the first time. Like, they are just, like, trading barbs, and it's so smart. So, like, this is probably, in my opinion, his best, like, dialogue-written script to date. Like, I think it's going to win some awards. But anyway, the point is, like, he's playing with time, and he's, like, having you go back and forth, and while somebody's explaining something that happened in the past, they're flashing back to it for the first time for the audience, so you're getting new context for the scene. And, like, he's doing that Dunkirk thing. He's doing that. Did he do it in Inception? I don't think he did it. The going back in time in Inception. But in Dunkirk he did it.
Yeah, because Leo tells some stories about like him and his wife.
But this is this is definitely different. Like when the movie's in black and white, it's from one person's point of view, and then in color, it's a different point of view. So
got it.
They intersplice that in the movie. And Robert Downey Jr. is a huge presence in the movie, and he's fantastic. Man.
Yeah, how is he in this?
Did he use black and white in Memento too to do some storytelling? I thought he
did. He did. Memento was in order. Memento, black and white sequences were like told in order.
That's right. That's what it was. Okay.
Yeah. Okay. And like it showed him getting new tattoos and stuff.
Yeah.
And he was on the phone with Teddy.
What a good movie that is too. Holy
crap.
Such a good movie. Yeah.
What a freaking list of movies that guy's
masterful movie. Yeah. We didn't even mention the Dark Knight movies. I mean, Jesus. Like, I mean,
right.
They're fine.
Incredible.
They're fine.
Those are the obvious picks. Like the Dark Knight is my favorite. My favorite movie. It's up there with Matrix, but like Memento is the one that's the one that hooked me on Nolan. Where
in my mind, I went to like
me.
Nolan's original concept movies.
I know what you mean. What you mean. And Memento was like that for me too, where like I wouldn't shut up about the guy. When I found out about Prestige, I was like, you guys don't understand. This guy's
Prestige. Yeah, I think Batman Begins was the first movie I saw from his, and then my buddy who I lived with at the time was like, if you like that, you have to see Memento, and then Prestige came out the very next year or something like that.
Yeah.
So like I kind of got those three movies within a 2-year time frame.
Batman Begins first, and then he was like, okay, now I want to do Prestige. I did your Batman thing. Let me do Prestige with all these actors.
I did your Batman.
I did that.
I remember because of Memento, I was like, guys, you don't understand. Batman Begins is going to be so good. People were so done with Batman by then. I was defending it so hard.
Yeah, that Batman one, he helped fund some of his original concept ideas.
Yeah,
including
and Dark Knight.
Wasn't
Rises,
Inception between
Interstellar? Yeah,
Inception was between two of the Batman movies?
Dark Knight and Rises.
Yeah, Rises then was before Interstellar, and that really helped him like do whatever he wanted with Interstellar. I'm gonna go to space for real. How about that? Oppenheimer in his filmography, I would say for me is like better than probably at the halfway point. Like it's really good. Like for me, that I felt it was like better than Batman Begins, Dark Knight Rises. Like it's tied with Inception maybe. Like it's just so freaking good. And don't get me, I don't rate Inception as high as Kyle does. Like I have Interstellar above it, and then Dark Knight, and then like
Inception's one of the best.
Yeah, Inception might be my favorite original one of his too. Yeah. Yep. All right.
That sucks. I'm just kidding.
We do have to move on, but we'll circle back to another current cinema corner. We'll get there next week and the week after. There's more summer movies on the way, folks, including some of you have early access to TMNT, which I'm excited to hear about.
Oh, man, I'm so pumped for that. Yeah.
I'll take my kids to see it when it has a full release, I believe, in 2 weeks. But a couple of you, it sounds like, have early access, which is cool.
Yeah, I'm seeing it on Saturday. Like Derek is the one that's mentioning all these early screenings, and I'm like, ever since he's been doing that, I've been getting tickets to the same exact screenings.
Yeah, where the hell are y'all getting these early screenings? I want to see TMNT.
He gets it. I think you're checking your app periodically, and
I just use my app.
Oh, okay. Yeah. Is it part of that thing that you that you're signed up for or whatever?
The AMC stubs.
I mean, anybody who has AMC app can can buy those tickets, but I also have an alert set on any movie I'm interested in. So
that's awesome.
Cool. That's good. All right, I'm going to fly through these headlines. We'll see if we can get a record time, just because there are some interesting things over the last 2 weeks that I wanted to highlight. And then that'll give us time at the end to just take a breath, talk about anything else you've been playing or watching you want to
whale.
catch up on. So yeah, we'll just whale you guys. It'll be great.
Whale.
Of course, the biggest development I think since we've last met and talked through headlines had to be the FTC essentially losing its injunction against the Microsoft Activision case. Now it is technically,
Oh, there it is.
There it goes.
Oh, you're talking about this? Are you talking about this?
I'm talking about that. I love that so much. He's so happy to pull the chair out.
He's like,
I love it so much. So anyway, FTC filed an appeal once the court ruled that they can't, this injunction will not move forward, that the acquisition can proceed.
Look at how upsetting.
But then there was this deadline, I think, for July 18th that they had to hit, or the deal was going to reset. A bunch of money was going to be owed, and it was going to get super messy. So they extended their merger agreement till October 18th. And so I think that's where any other, injunctions or issues or whatever else will be hopefully settled before all that too. But this is going to happen. We're at the point now where it's like, all right, this is actually going to happen.
I think everybody's finally accepted. All right,
Correct.
It's a done deal.
It's pretty much going to happen. So there you go.
The appeal was denied.
The appeal was denied almost
within
24, 48 hours. I think.
Yeah, it was quick.
It was very quick.
It's like, all right, can we move this along? Like,
So,
they were like, let's go. Okay,
So now that drama is dying down, Major Nelson decided I'm out of here. It's not exciting around here anymore.
I know, right?
So Major Nelson, who's a very well-known name in the Xbox community, Larry Major Nelson Herb. He's the director of programming at Xbox, and he's been a long-standing, kind of online mostly spokesperson for the gaming business. Although he's been on TV, on screen a bunch too. But 22 years he was with them. Now he's heading out to do other things, I think, yet to be announced. So there you go. He is heading out. I didn't have anything big from Nintendo the last 2 weeks. They're mostly they had their big Nintendo Direct. They've been pretty quiet. They got Pikmin 4 that just released this past week, and so I haven't heard a ton from them this over the last couple weeks. As far as Sony goes, there was a new trailer for the Twisted Metal series coming to Peacock next week.
Yeah.
I did think this trailer was a better representation of what we can expect from the show, obviously. And that's not to say this was their first trailer. The other thing was just a small clip from the show. So I totally understand it.
Yeah, but that was so cringe.
That kind of was. But now that I see it in context with this, I'm like, this actually could have ended up being like a pretty fun, don't take this seriously, just have fun with it, silliness type show. And so I feel like there's a little more optimism, at least from my perspective as a non-mega fan compared to some of you. I thought, hey, this actually could be kind of like campy fun. Like I'm somewhat a little more on board after seeing that trailer, at least with giving it a try. But
I think the little sneak peek actually probably helped the trailer. I'm not saying the trailer is bad. I'm just saying if that was the very first thing we would have saw from the show, I think we would have been like, I don't know about this. But because we saw something that was really, really cringe and really, really bad, I think a lot of people's standards dropped a lot.
Yeah.
And so when I watched it, I was like, well, maybe this won't be so bad.
Yeah.
They did it on purpose. They did it on purpose.
Yeah, could be right. I don't find Anthony Mackie to be like the most naturally funny person in any role I've seen him in, but like some of the trailer clips, I was like, all right, I can get on board with him doing some of the funny stuff. I can
feel the Deadpool vibe, and so I will give it a shot because I love Twisted Metal, and if they can nail like the Deadpool humor, maybe it'll be fun.
It's the same writers, so I hope they do.
That's what I'm saying. I could feel the vibe by the way they were like.
That comes out this coming week on Peacock.
Yeah, Thursday.
Naughty Dog's co-president Evan Wells retired from the studio. So nothing major on there outside of like, hey, I've been here forever and ever, and I'm ready to move on to other stuff.
He left because of toxic environments.
No, he left as soon as Activision got acquired. He's like, we're gonna lose. We're out of here.
Sony.
Everything
he's joining Bethesda right now.
Yeah, that's right. So yeah, he's moving on. Of course, that he's helped alongside many others there at Naughty Dog create some of the best gaming experiences we've had. So good on him for getting some time to do something else. It's okay to move on sometimes, I think.
Yeah.
How dare you?
It didn't sound like there was anything like nefarious, or it didn't sound like it was anything negative attached to that.
But everyone immediately assumed that.
I know.
Well, they always do. Drama gets
the internet? No way.
Yeah, I know it's shocking.
So this is kind of cool. Like this, it doesn't really apply to any of us, but I do think it's cool when companies go out of their way to do this. Microsoft has already done this with a lot of cool accessibility controller stuff. The PlayStation 5 has this controller. I was actually reading the article about it. It's called their Access controller. It's $90. It's this peripheral that allows players with physical disabilities, especially, to play games more easily and comfortably. And the idea is it can be laid out on a flat surface. It can be oriented 360 degrees. You can secure it to these mounts or tripods, and you can also sync them up with a regular DualSense controller, like pair them together. And so, like, it just depends on what your disability is and what kind of movement you need and all that kind of stuff. Sounds like it's very multifunctional. It just the article had some cool pictures of all the different pieces that you can kind of put together for this Access controller. So I think that's pretty cool. I know for the most part, folks who play PS5 and need something like that, they've had to have someone help them.
Although it's kind of cutting it off, but I think it looks
and you
like
can detach
pretty cool.
Yeah.
It's just pretty nifty. All circular. And all
it really gives you, especially people who have maybe one hand that functions better than the other, or whatever their scenario, their circumstance might be. Something like that would allow them to really, to play.
I'm here for it, man.
I bought it for my pet ape.
Yeah.
What's your pet ape's name?
Caesar, probably.
Apey.
Apey. Oh, that's okay.
Apey escapey.
AP.
Huh?
Wow.
You're one letter away from being problematic.
Apey escaping. That's so stupid.
All right.
Oh, all right.
There it goes.
High on Life is likely to be a no longer an exclusive. Looks like it's possibly coming to the PlayStation platform.
No, it
Suck it,
launched.
Xbox.
It already launched.
Wait,
Today.
what?
Yeah, it's
Did
on
it?
PS5 and PS4 now. Yep.
Oh, did it really? Oh,
Yeah.
I didn't know that. Oh, okay. Yeah, I saw this.
They announced it
probably-
at Comic-Con.
Oh, okay. I saw it right before. I must have seen it right before that because they were talking about how someone on the back end saw in their list of updates coming up for PlayStation games, they saw High on Life listed there, and they're like, "That's a clue."
Yeah,
Another
they
win-
announced it
another win for
during
Jimmy.
Comic-Con. They were like, "Yeah, it's already out there,
And it's
Just go
available
play
now."
it."
Okay,
Yeah,
cool.
Exactly.
There you go. High on Life.
No update on the High on Knife DLC, but we'll get there.
High on knife.
I can't wait. I'm
It's the
so
best.
excited.
It's the best DLC name, man.
Mm-hmm.
Oh my gosh. The new test drive game called Unlimited Solar Crown, which is a little weird of a weird name to me, but whatever. Delayed till early 2024. This is starting to get a little bit, for fans of that franchise, I've been waiting for this game. That's got to be frustrating because it was scheduled for September of 2022, delayed to 2023, and now been pushed to 2024. So it's one of these things where it keeps getting kind of pushed off.
That is a bummer.
So, but they did also cancel last gen versions, and they did not reference the Switch version, which wasn't originally announced. But PS4, Xbox One versions not happening. Switch version they're silent on for the moment. I can't imagine they're making a Switch version though if they're not doing last gen. But who knows? Who knows? Assassin's Creed Codename Red could be targeting a 2024 release. We know that's the one that's set kind of in the I think feudal Japan setting for that one.
Better late than never, I guess.
We don't know much about that. I mean, that one was kind of announced as the next one they're working on. It's Codename Red, no title for it, no other details. But it's going to be the next big Assassin's Creed game, right? Your next Valhalla style thing. I am curious.
I believe it's 2024.
Yeah, but some folks thought it might be even after that, like 2025, 2026.
That's what I was thinking.
The way that they're hiring some of the job listings, it looks like it's for a game that's going to be releasing next year. So who knows? It might not, but I'd love that for a fall 2024 release. That'd be great. There were a bunch of rumors that now been confirmed for the Mortal Kombat 1 DLC roster. Listen to this list of fighters. Some of these names I don't recognize, but some of them I think are hilarious. So we got Quan Chi, Omni-Man, Ermac, Takeda, Peacemaker, and Homelander are both going to be joining Mortal Kombat 1. So those are your DLC fighters that they've announced in a new trailer.
Homelander would make sense. That would be kind of cool.
I guess Peacemaker too, right? Based on...
Yeah,
I only saw 5 characters.
1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. There's 6 listed in the
You can't
trailer.
see John Cena.
You can't see John Cena. It's an internet joke.
Oh, I get it now.
I did.
Are you sure?
Now I get it. Now I get it.
Are you sure about that?
Omni-Man, this is my last ditch, not last, but one of my pleas for everybody to watch Invincible, because that's what Omni-Man is from.
Right.
Yeah,
No.
and he's incredible.
No, I plan on watching it. No, I totally.
Well, there's
he's-
the one
No.
season, right? There's only one so far.
Yeah,
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 but the
and
season's
I literally
fucking
have never
awesome.
heard anybody
Sure,
who's actually
sure.
watched it say anything bad about it. Like
Oh,
seriously.
yeah, no, of
Yeah.
course, of course.
It's It blew me away. The first episode
what is this
will
on?
end with a cliffhanger
Amazon
that makes
Prime.
you go, "What?" And you have to keep watching.
Yeah.
Like, it's crazy.
It's just that's the frustrating thing with like animated shows.
It's like basically The Boys animated, but maybe not as like
Yeah.
vulgar and gross,
Pretty
but
much.
like
It's
as violent
still
maybe.
gross. Yeah.
But it's just like when
very
it's so
violent.
so
Yeah.
good, and then you have to wait for X amount of time because it's animated, so they have
Yeah,
to draw.
dude.
the
Not
thing,
only
you know?
that, season
Yep.
2 is split into 2 parts because the animation is taking so long. Yeah.
Well,
It's the same thing with Arcane, man. Like Arcane is one of my
They
favorites.
just-
They only
Yeah.
hired one
Ever.
person to
Wait.
draw everything.
Yeah, pretty much.
Yeah, it was fun.
So limited run games are doing really good work. They're doing God's work over there at limited run games, trying to make sure that we don't lose access to the old games that are classics we grew up with, PS1 and in some cases previous. They've got 2 collections they just recently announced. The Gex trilogy being one of them, going to be putting that trilogy out for modern consoles.
Oh, I didn't realize
Yes.
that was them. Okay.
That triggered Gaston.
So there were 3 releases. There was 1995's Gex, and then 98 they had Gex Enter the Gecko, which is the one I played, and then
That's the
99
only
was
one I played, yeah.
same here. 99 was Gex 3 Deep Cover Gecko. I never played that one. But they're all coming to the Switch, PS4, PS5, Xbox, and Steam. Using this
Can
thing
I ask
called
something, and I don't mean anything negative by it, but those games aren't good, right? Like they were never like they were always
They're
perceived as kind of being
they're
like bad
okay.
like mascot games. Like
Yeah, they're fine.
okay,
I never
yeah.
cared about
It's interesting, but I'm also happy that they're coming back because I know
Sure.
game
Exactly.
collections are hard to keep relevant and stuff like that, and games are aging all the time. So
I
I'm
think
always
it
happy.
I think it was limited run games that said 86% of video games, like classic ones,
Yeah.
are on the verge of being like kind of lost forever if we don't do this
Yeah.
kind of thing.
Well, so hey, everybody out there, if you guys emulate, you're now historians. So seriously,
Yeah.
like
not
say
not
like
in Nintendo's eyes.
no, who cares? I don't care. Like you guys like are holding relics of the past that shouldn't exist anymore, and like make sure you're
point.
saving those files. Everybody, seriously, download
Good
and
point.
save.
That is why it's kind of annoying with Nintendo, like how they're just so like. I mean, they take people to court, like. And
I would
then-
understand Nintendo more if they had their own, like, we already
Right.
have that collection or that,
Right.
for,
They
that
don't.
game.
That's the
don't.
You're
Yeah.
really relying on people out there to hang on to their cartridges, which have a shelf life. You know what I mean? If people aren't cleaning those all the time, and stuff
Right.
like that, they're gonna copperize, and like you're never gonna be able to like play those games anymore.
And they taste
Save those
awful.
files, guys. Download them and save them.
And they taste horrible.
Everyone
Another
should pirate. Yeah.
Another collection that they announced is this 30th anniversary of the Jurassic Park film. They announced the collection of games. I think it's just 2 games, but maybe multiple versions of them because they came to NES, Game Boy, and Super Nintendo. I think I got that right. So, but they're also going to make physical editions of this, and some of the special editions are crazy. They can cost up to $175. And it can include anything from like little models of the cartridges to actual functioning versions of the cartridges that are like, some of them look like they're set in amber. They're amber colored, of course, from the Jurassic Park world.
Sure.
Get it? But they're going way above and beyond with all kinds of like booklets and all kinds of additional collector stuff. So if you're really into Jurassic Park and the games and kind of like early 90s gaming, at least give it a look. Like if you like a collection of stuff, this is kind of interesting. Now, if they had some kind of T-Rex or Raptor statue, they might have actually gotten me to do something.
Yeah.
That collector's edition. But
Another good example of games that probably no one thought about or
Right.
had
Yep.
no way to play any other way until someone was like, "Hey, let's remake this, or not remake it, but put it in a collection."
Right.
So,
Yep.
I hope this continues to be a trend, regardless of how bad, old, or whatever the games are. You know, just keep
Yeah.
on pumping these out.
I agree. Yep. I think the game releases in mid-October because the pre-orders end on October 15th. I assume that's when the game releases, but I'm not sure on the release date for those. There's this rumor that this new Borderlands collection could be on the way. It's from South Africa's Film and Publication Board. They leaked this new Borderlands collection. Gamatsu spotted the ratings body that classified the Borderlands compilation, Pandora's Box, for PC and consoles, which would be a new collection. We've had the Handsome collection.
What would this collection be?
I don't know. Would it
I
include?
would maybe Tiny Tina and 3 are in it.
Maybe.
That's
Yeah,
Like
because
all
it-
the other
big.
games and the
Maybe.
2 new
Yeah,
ones.
yeah, maybe.
It's dumb.
Yeah,
Yeah.
you can pretty easily get all of those games on modern day consoles with no problem. So
For
what a
super
weird-
cheap on a sale.
Yeah,
too.
what a weird collect. Yeah, and they're probably going to sell this for $70 or something like that. So it's like you could piece all those games together today for under 50, I bet. So
Agreed.
Sure.
I thought this was kind of interesting just because we've talked battery life before. To me, that's the biggest negative for the Steam Deck, which I've been putting a lot of time into the Steam Deck, is the battery life is just not great. It works for some indie games. I can get several hours of playtime in, put it in sleep mode, and then fire it up again and keep playing a little bit. But
are you turning your screen brightness down?
Yeah, I do all the different little tricks to try to get the battery life to last longer. But if I'm playing, like when I played Days Gone a little bit this past spring on there, I played probably 3 or 4 hours of Days Gone on my trip and really enjoyed it. I put it in sleep mode, and when I tried to turn it back on, the battery was at zero. Like it was like at 50% maybe when I put it in sleep mode, and then it was just dead. The battery was at 0. I had to plug it in even to use it again, and that was just the next day. So I don't know what it's doing in sleep mode. The battery life just isn't great. For as much as I love the Steam Deck, battery life is not great. So this new EU regulation that just passed recently, as of 2027, so we got a few years till this goes into effect, it's possible that handheld devices, including gaming handhelds, might have to have replaceable batteries you can access and then buy a replacement part and replace because of this kind of thing. This is basically regulation that avoids allowing companies to create a battery that purposefully gets bad battery life, forcing you to buy a whole new device after a certain amount of time, which has always been a joke I've had about like Apple, for example. When a new version,
can this law pass for phones, please?
It would be part of phones, and it would be all handheld devices. Phones,
all handheld devices,
tablets,
awesome. Okay.
Yeah, but it wouldn't be till 2027, and then from then on, it would only be for newly manufactured devices. It wouldn't be all old ones, obviously. But I'm interested in this one. I think they should allow you to just be like, hey, I'll spend $60 to replace my battery. I'm 3 years in. I don't want to buy a new $500 thing, but I'll pay.
The only reason I ever upgrade is because my battery just stops.
That's pretty much it, man. Yeah.
I don't really care about new bell and whistles for phones. I don't really use my phone to game or anything. It needs to read emails. That's what it needs to do. Make phone calls.
Yep. Play some solitaire. That's about it.
Yeah, play some solitaire.
So anyway, I thought that was interesting. I do hope that is something that kind of is worldwide, not just in Europe. But anyway. Damn. All right. Almost there, almost done. We're moving quick here. Blizzard has announced that they're going to make a selection of their PC games available on Steam. If you're familiar with Blizzard, that's a pretty big deal because they've got their Battle.net launcher that you have to use for everything. You can't get any of their games on other platforms like Steam. It's going to start with Overwatch 2 on August 10th, which is a pretty big one. But
yeah, it is big, but like that game is not doing well at all.
I know. I don't care about it that much. I was hopeful when I saw this headline that Diablo 4 was coming to Steam. I was like, oh my gosh. But no, that's not happening.
Oh, dang.
Similar to Epic Games, there are workarounds to get Battle.net games working on your Steam Deck. It's the same kind of thing, though. You have to go into like some of the developer mode stuff and do some finagling. But anyway, the idea is over time, they want to have other games from their library come to Steam. I don't know what's taking so long or what they're holding back on. It could be that kind of thing where they don't want everyone to play Diablo 4 on Steam. They want them to play it on Battle.net for some reason. I don't know exactly what it is. But anyway, they're going to start bringing some of those over to Steam, they said. And weirdly, we haven't heard anything about what specifically, unless they've announced it and I missed it in the last couple of days. Call of Duty 2023 still doesn't have a specific title announced, or we don't really know what it is.
Oh, yeah. That's
the trial kind of leaked the release date already, so that's what I'm going off of.
Wasn't there
not the trial, but like the paper, but whatever it is, the evidence or whatever that you want to call it. That were
so
in the FTC trial.
All the reports are, including that, all the reports are pointing to it being a continuation of Modern Warfare, so possibly just Modern Warfare 3.
Yeah, they had like a date of November 10th for Modern Warfare 3.
Yeah. And also, it seems to be somewhat confirmed when they said that their operators, weapons, and bundles carry forward into this year's entry, although they didn't name the entry yet.
Oh.
So if that's going to happen,
that's
then
actually
probably is in the same universe and same time setting, you would think. But
I smell reused assets.
Oh.
And they're saving
money,
saving those resources. Huh?
No, I think
directly
it's getting to the next part of the
issue.
story that they set up at the end of the last Modern Warfare. Like, we're getting into like the good part of the story, you know, with this next entry. So people are only playing for the story like me. Sad. Yeah, it's about to get sad. They're about to speak no Russian, maybe. So yeah, we're it's gonna be a good time. I hope so.
Yeah, I really enjoyed the last campaign.
Me too. I thought it was completely outstanding. There were moments in it where I was just like,
still haven't played 2. I've only played the 120.
I haven't either.
It's a good campaign. I did play some of the online, but like that's not what I'm there for. So
I'm there for the campaign.
And last but not least, this is kind of a funny looking game if you go look at it, but Skull Island Rise of Kong game has been announced, and I went to watch the trailer for it, and I was like, this doesn't look very
It
good.
looks terrible.
All right, well, now I'm intrigued.
I was watching it, and I was just like, why are they making this?
Now, if they were to say, hey, this is actually a port from a PS2 game, I'd be like, oh, got it. Okay,
yeah.
cool.
Okay.
Oh, wow. From a PS2.
In fact, the King Kong game on 360 that launched looks better than this game. So,
dude, what the f is this?
It's really bad, yeah.
Now, the idea
like
of the idea of like a third-person action adventure game as Kong, like that part of it, conceptually it sounds good, and then I saw.
I'm into that.
Yeah. Looks like a mobile game. I'm not gonna lie.
Yeah, this has to be like a mobile game that they're also putting on like consoles or something.
They're putting on every console and on PC. So yeah.
Hey guys, don't buy it. This is shovelware. Don't buy it.
It's shovelware. Yeah. And it's slated for this year. So how it looks now is how it's going to look when it launches.
Yeah, that's
cool.
Nice.
So we can rely on
it. Cody.
Yep. All right, well, let's wrap things up with some quick hits. We'll start with Birthday Boy. Anything you've been playing or watching the last couple weeks that you want to highlight that you're pumped about?
The thing I've been playing the most, weirdly, I went back to Theatrhythm and put like 15 hours in that over the course of the week.
Nice.
That was really good. I'm really enjoying that game, and the beats are good. I think 16 put me in the mood to be like, I want to keep the party going just in a different way. So I've been playing that. I won't spend too long.
Does it have 16 content?
Not yet.
What's that? No, but I feel like you have to, right?
Right.
You have to get Final Fantasy.
They're totally
15
going
content
to.
at some point.
They gotta be.
Yeah. Well, I mean, because there is DLC, right? So
they're on like volume 2 of their DLC right now, so they've been slowly pumping it out. I'm really enjoying it.
The tunes in 16 are amazing, and it'd be fun to have those characters too.
Yeah, Torgal. I want Torgal.
Right. You hit buttons, and that's the whole game. There's nothing to talk about. I'm just enjoying it.
The game is fun.
I love it. I love it so much.
That's really the only other thing I was playing besides some of the stuff we already talked about, like Remnant and stuff like that. I did just see a movie or a couple movies. I won't spend too much time on them. I did see The Flash. I thought it was fun. You know, download it. I don't know. Don't go see it in theaters. Don't support that movie. But I thought it was a fun movie, and Michael Keaton was great, and the girl they got to play Supergirl was a lot of fun too.
Okay. Nice.
She was just cool.
So everything not the Flash is what you're saying.
I think some people, I don't know. I just don't like that guy. And there's 2 of them in this movie, and I just didn't like either one of them.
They double up.
And one plays the serious man, and then one doesn't. And I just hate the whole concept of it.
Some of the jokes really worked for me, and then some of them made me go, "This is why I don't like the actor."
I laughed too at some of the jokes that I didn't think I'd laugh at, but and I had fun with the movie. I have more positive things to say than negative. The CGI is the worst I've ever seen in any movie ever. Like, it's awful. On a movie this size, I mean, obviously I've seen more CGI before, but like for a movie this
recent
big,
movies,
it was really something. I was pretty upset by a lot of it.
It made Thor: Love and Thunder look like a visual masterpiece.
Yeah. There were some times where they CG'd Ezra Miller, and you have that guy. Like, I don't. Why are you CGing him? Like, he's on set. Like, whatever.
He was off on the side
really
watching
did
this.
Deepfake him for like the
they
double.
Deepfake him for like a lot of it. He'll be like, you can see it's fake behind his mask, and I'm like, why did you? It doesn't matter. Anyway, it's fun enough. If y'all catch it for free, like, man, it's a good time for sure. Michael Keaton is totally worth the price of admission, and it gave me a little bit of faith because this is the director that's doing the new Batman movie. He handled Batman really well. I feel good about him doing a Batman movie. So
right, exactly.
I love Michael Keaton, man. I love that guy.
He's so good. He's so
Batman
good.
Beyond movie when? Like, come on.
And he should be it. He should play.
Yes, exactly. Yeah, like that would be amazing.
Yeah.
Agreed.
Please have that happen. And the only other movie I saw was the one that released today. Was Tyrone was cloned, or they cloned Tyrone or whatever.
Yeah.
So
Tyrone,
stupid.
Tyrone, he got cloned.
Oh man, I thought it was so dumb, and I really enjoyed it. I thought
it was so enjoyable, dude. Right?
It was kind of funny, like Black Dynamite, and we're satiring blaxploitation, but also it's a sci-fi movie, and also it's a a movie. It's so many genres that they blended together, and I thought that it was actually really well done. Yeah. And I was laughing through most of it. And Jamie Foxx is such a star, dude. He's so hilarious in this movie.
Yeah,
he's got some of the greatest lines ever. And yeah, everyone, Finn is always just going to be Finn to a lot of people, but dude, this guy completely dissolves into this role of this character. Yeah. Where
dude,
Fontaine,
if people think he's only Finn, they need to watch like Attack the Block or that one
Attack the
where
Block's amazing. Thank you, Tim.
What's that one where that he's living in his car with his son? I forget what it's called, but that one's really good. Where
I
they,
highly
he's a good
recommend one
actor.
from last year called Breaking, where it's like a Denzel John Q movie, and he's holding up a bank of like 2 employees just to get his like paycheck. The VA is like screwing him on a paycheck or something, and he's like, "No, you told me you'd pay whatever," and it's like the dollar amount's very minimal, but the movie is so intense and it's true. And he's so intense, like he's just so good in the movie.
He's great.
He's a star, man. Yeah, I highly. You can watch that movie on Netflix. It's pretty good. It's goofy. I don't know what the mileage is.
It's a Black Mirror type. It's a better Black Mirror episode than a lot of the new season. Let's put it that way.
There you go.
It is. Yeah, like there is some really high concept sci-fi stuff, but it's to me it's just never not funny. Like it's so tongue-in-cheek the entire time, absurd, and I did not expect Kiefer Sutherland in the movie, like on any level. No,
like,
me neither. I had to check like multiple times that was him too. Yeah. And he plays such a racist asshole. Yeah. It is really something. Yeah.
With like an accent, everything. Yeah.
Oh, so you're saying Big Boss is in it?
Yeah, and he just plays. He plays not Big Boss in it. Yeah, that's right.
Sorry, I didn't mean that. I apologize. I take it back.
It's all right. You got it. Okay.
It's already out there. It's too late. All right, cool.
That's it for me. Yeah.
Nice. Jeff, actually, and then we'll get to Derek and then Dan and myself. So Jeff, what else? What else you got going on? Watching,
before Diablo's new season and Remnant came out, I played the first few chapters, levels, whatever you call them, of Devil May Cry 5 because I was craving that action style.
One of us.
What'd you think?
Gotta get it.
It's so good, dude. The action is like
so good.
There's so many options that I feel like I'm not doing enough, but like it's never not fun.
Yeah,
you know, that's the great part. Is like I'm having fun the entire time, even though there's like you can do this or you can do this or you can do this. You know, there's so many button combos to choose from. And yeah, it just feels really good. And I assume you just unlock way more.
So cool.
You do unlock way more.
Yeah. Because you start out with
there's a cutscene that then introduces a new weapon altogether later in the game that I was like, this is a weapon?
Yep.
Yeah. Are you kidding me right now?
I already know what you're talking about.
Are you kidding me?
Yeah. Are you kidding me?
Yeah, I think that's what's kind of missing from 16, even though I still think the gameplay is like phenomenal. Is like I kind of wish Clive had like maybe a couple more weapons, just so it kind of felt like he was doing something a little different. You know what I mean?
Maybe like when he had like the electricity guy, like he had a spear also. Like maybe he would. That'd have been kind of cool.
Or like daggers, or like an axe or something.
You're right. You know? And that's where something like Devil May Cry really shines with all the.
Well, it feels so monumental when you get a new weapon, even though you may not use it. You know, because you're like, I'm used to kind of like my sword and like pistol setup.
I'm in my.
You want to try it because it's so cool, you know, and maybe you get hooked and maybe you don't.
And all it takes is one move. You're like, look at that slam move. Okay, I got to try this now.
Yeah, I got to try that.
Oh, by the way, before I even played the game, I watched a YouTube recap of like the story, and it was like not long because there's not a lot of crazy stuff happening that you're like, I can't wrap my head around this.
Yeah.
Like, you know, I mean, it's not too wild until they get to like, I think 4 was like the most in-depth story that they showed in the video. It was the longest.
3 is pretty in depth because it's actually so it's interesting because it's a prequel, but there's like it's a lot of like the
actually
stuff
3 took up the most time, and then when they got to 4, it was very cinematic and like
3 the brother story in 3.
But that helped at least help me contextualize who the people were that I was playing.
Right.
So that was what I was concerned with, and what their dynamic is and stuff like that. I didn't really care about
story. While interesting in that game, I would never call it like great, but like that game is more vibes than story for sure.
Yeah,
like, it's like, hey, look how rock and roll this is.
Very comedy. Exactly.
I think my favorite Devil May Cry story is actually DMC, the game everybody hates.
That game's great, dude. That game's great. The story of that game is great.
I do not understand why people disliked that game.
Because his hair was black.
It was my favorite. It was
my
favorite.
That's like what it really boiled down to. It's not Dante. His hair's not white.
Sure.
Yeah, well, if you played at the end.
Yeah. Well, also,
spoilers, his hair turns white.
When they first showed his character, he looked way more emo, and I think that bothered people. But then,
I think there was a complete design flaw for people. Absolutely. Yeah.
Where is that in the timeline? Is that between like 3 and 4?
It's not. It's its own thing.
Not canon. Yeah, I didn't watch a video with that.
And that was Ninja Theory, so that was your hell.
Got it. I never played that one.
That one's good. It's really good. It's on sale on Steam all the time, and it's Steam Deck verified.
So and play it. It's so
good. All right.
It's really good.
Yeah.
So Jeff, do you think you'll keep playing that, or was it more like just a test?
No, that was more of like an in-between games thing. And then this week is pretty busy with new releases for me, so I'll try, but it's on PC and it looks amazing. So other ones, oh yeah, no other games. So movies and shows, I'm almost done with rewatching Veep, and this is just one of the funniest shows ever made. If you liked the name calling and like bitterness of all the people in Succession, just watch Veep, because that's what all Veep is. Like, and it's just a comedy version of it. Like, Succession had some drama in it along with the comedy. This is just a straight comedy, and it's all about the most vapid people in politics, and which you could argue is all politicians, but at this point, but it really does like not satirize, but it certainly mocks them in a way that's like they only care about perception, not about getting anything done, and just the way they talk to each other and the nicknames that are so inappropriate to call each other in a workspace. I highly recommend this show. Yeah, it would be worth even watching again as soon as I finish it, because it's just so freaking funny and quotable. And movie-wise, I'm on a 4K UHD kick, especially after Blu-ray, specifically after Amazon Prime Day, like 2 weeks ago or whatever, a week ago. And I bought like you guys did, like Derek and Kyle did, like I bought a bunch of Blu-rays, and I already had a Blu-ray player, and so like it was just like I just needed to rebuild my library. And it wasn't until I think Kyle did more of a deep dive than I did about what Blu-ray quality is compared to streaming. And I didn't realize that 1080p Blu-ray is better quality visually than streaming 4K. Like, that's insane to think about.
Yeah, we all got a crash course in what actual compressed media is.
And that made me go, well, I guess I guess I'm just gonna stick with this then, because now I have a whole library.
This is like the first time in a long time I felt like a snob about technology, where I'm like, I'm never gonna watch a movie streaming ever again.
Yeah, exactly.
So
now
I'm looking around at all these disgusting regular people streaming.
I won't watch Mando season 4 until it's on Blu-ray. Whatever.
I rewatched Inside Out, which is currently in my top 4 on Letterboxd for favorite movies. I just think it's a masterpiece. It's an
amazing movie. I love that movie.
Fucking floors me every time I watch it. Then Inception, Apollo 13, Once Upon a Time in Hollywood, and then I watched the Planet of the Apes, the Caesar trilogy, which is like probably my second or third favorite trilogy of all time. It's up there. It's
so good.
Freaking masterful.
It has no right to be that good.
Yeah.
It's about monkeys. Yeah. It should not be as good. Yeah.
CG monkeys. Like the original ones were kind of goofy, right? Like they tried to be serious,
weird. And these are like
remember the Mark Wahlberg
good
one?
Drama, like war dramas.
I actually kind of liked the Mark Wahlberg one, even though people mostly hate it. I was like, that's kind of fun though. No, not good. Okay.
When did that one come out?
I'm
Michael
here
Clark
to support
Duncan.
you, though.
I didn't know till later I wasn't supposed to like it.
I feel bad that people stole the magic from that movie for you.
They still used at that point. They used ape outfits like the old 60s, like 70s trilogy or 5 movie-ology, whatever you call that. It's just from the beginning. The CG is amazing. Like from the beginning, the Rise of the Planet of the Apes came out in 2011. And his face, Caesar's face, even though he's like 5 or 8 in that movie, his face still looks expressive. You see the Andy Serkis of it when he starts to get more serious and human. Like, and then
Dawn, he's very scared and confused about everything that's happening, like the attack on the neighbor and all that kind of stuff. Yeah,
it's interesting how he's involved with 2 of the greatest trilogies of all time. Is he the magical ingredient that everyone's missing?
Ingredient. There you go. And then
wasn't he the one that was married to Kate Beckinsale too? So he's pretty awesome if that's true.
No, I don't remember that.
Was he?
I think he was. I think it's either him or I'm thinking of somebody else. But I think
she was married to that director guy that did Underworld.
Yeah,
but I think Andy is before him.
Oh, I don't know. Hold on.
All about that dude.
But I mean, shout out to Kate. Shout out to
pretty rad
Kate
though. If that's true,
Kate
then
Beckinsale. Yeah.
That would amazing. First of all be that she has bad taste, which he's already proven, but also that he's pretty freaking alpha if he's gotten Kate Beckinsale and then he's in 2 amazing trilogies.
I love that Andy Serkis can do that kind of stuff, and he's a director, and then he does like and he's in the Marvel movies with the guy with one arm, and he's just crazy. I love that guy, man.
Yeah. Oh my God, that scene in Black Panther where he's like, "What is love, baby? Don't hurt me."
I know.
It's so freaking stupid.
I know.
Dawn, the second movie in the Apes trilogy, is probably up there. Like, I think it's in my top 100 favorite movies of all time. It's just amazing. Like, it's just I think I even gave it 5 stars. I'll just call it a masterpiece because it's like every piece of that movie is so critical to the story. Every little piece, even the slow moments. Like
they build up great tension in that one.
Yeah, and then the beginning opens with his eyes, and the ending of it opening on his closing on his eyes, and like just
dude,
clearly a cyclical movie.
The scene where Koba is kind of performing for the soldiers was so intense and so well done.
You know that actor is like the guy from
Toby
the entire
Kebbell.
Toby Kebbell. He was the guy from the entire History of You, Black Mirror.
He's also in the World of Warcraft movie.
He's unfortunately
everyone's favorite fantasy movie.
I forgot that's a movie.
That's a movie.
Remember that guy?
He's incredible as
I'm still
Koba,
waiting for that sequel. You know?
He's so good as Koba. Like Koba was terrifying. Like that whole scene was scary because I was like, you guys don't know what this
walk. Oh my god, and his face, like,
that was so good.
The second one's the best one, right? I mean, not to say the third one's awful, right?
But I like the third one the best, but the second one's amazing.
I like the third one a lot too, but the second one, there's something.
I think I loved something about the way the story came to an end, but I also loved Woody Harrelson's character and that whole arc that he had. So like I like that. I like the third one the best, but the second one is undeniably amazing for sure.
Yeah, I like the third one more. The first time I saw it, I came out of the theater kind of going, that's not what I expected out of a war movie. I didn't expect it to be. If you ever saw
the second one, felt more like a war.
If you ever saw Bridge on the River Kwai, or Rescue Dawn, as Kyle pointed out in chat, like it's pretty much a prisoner of war movie, and it follows a lot of the same plot beats as River Kwai, especially where they're literally building something as prisoners of war. Like they're literally doing that. So I was just not expecting that type of pacing. But then when I watched it again with expectations readjusted, it's kind of like Derek talks about with his philosophy with certain games when he replays them. He's like, okay, expectations are readjusted. Maybe I'll like this more. Sure enough, I love the movie now. You know?
Yeah.
And like you said, Woody Harrelson's a big part of that. You know?
He's awesome.
Yeah.
He's so
good.
Incredible. Nice. I love seeing the 4K movie rush that you guys are going through. Derek, you got a few of those, maybe some other games. Any other quick hits you wanted to highlight?
Yeah, I as far as what I've watched so far, I've been focusing more on stuff I have never seen before, although I've bought movies that I have seen before lately. First was Blade Runner 2049. I enjoyed that way more than I thought I would, because when it came out on HBO, I believe, I think I started and I was like, this is not a Derek movie, and I never went back to it. So only reason I bought it is because it was super cheap. I was excited about getting the 4K Blu-ray player as well. And then Kyle and Jeff were talking about how good it was. I was like, well, if I don't like it, I'll just blame them, and it's a waste of $10.
I'll harness that blame because I'll just be like, well, he just doesn't like good movies. And
well, I know you guys would just say I have bad taste. I've learned to live with it. But next on my hit list is actually a movie I have seen a gazillion times, but I haven't seen it in probably over 20 years, and that was Heat. So it's funny, like watching it and going,
one of the best rewatches.
Yeah, I remember stuff, but dude, I don't remember a lot of this.
I didn't remember the great ass quotes from that movie until I watched it again. I was like, Pacino said the thing. Like,
that's the movie.
I
always actually think that's in a different movie. And
right? I thought that was Devil's Advocate. Yeah,
that's not part of Devil's Advocate. That's this movie.
I think it's 28 years old, and watching Pacino. Well, first of all the acting was really well done, but like watching Al and going, dude, are you really saying this stuff to people? And the way he says it is so over the top, but he nails it. And he can go from like being, I'm crazy, to like real normal and subtle. Really well done. I enjoyed that movie a lot. And then I went to Alita next, that was actually the one I was most excited to watch, mainly because I'm an action guy, and I was just excited to see it on 4K Blu-ray. I think it was Dolby Vision. Yeah, it was the first Dolby Vision movie I watched as well. I enjoyed that as well. Not as much plot-wise as I was hoping, but I do think it's a good setup for the sequels. So
I think they're really going to do it too. James Cameron keeps saying we're doing it.
I think they already announced it. Like I think it's confirmed.
But there was a question.
I heard multiple projects. I heard video games were on the table, and
I think it would be perfect for video games.
Is no brainer.
Yeah. But I think it was a really, really fun movie, and I could definitely see if they do actually put out the sequels, which again I think they were confirmed. I saw a post today, I think in Unlocked, that I will go in the theater and watch it. I enjoyed it enough And now currently I'm working through Planet of the Apes trilogy. I've got through the first 2 movies. I'm an hour into the third one. I'm liking so far the third one the most. But I think I enjoy the entire trilogy as a whole. I think it's cool to watch it back to back to back. Also, the cool thing watching it back to back to back is watching the improvements on the effects
CG.
and the way everything looks. Like,
he looks amazing by the third one. It's like unreal.
The first one's good, but you can see the leap going into the second one, which came out 3 years later. And then going into the third one, which came out 3 years after that one, I was like, dude, this looks legit. Like, I think 2017 is like the year, because Blade Runner 2049 came out in 2017 as well, and that movie is, talk about like a masterpiece when it comes to like visuals. That movie is like stunning.
A lot of that's in camera too, and very real. It's very
I don't know how that movie's made of magic. I don't know.
Have you got to the part in 4 Planet of the Apes where you meet Bad Ape yet? He's like a new ape
with the vest.
Yeah. Oh, okay. I love that character so much. It's
with
Steve
the vest,
Zahn,
right?
So
you got the vest.
Yeah.
Oh, that's Steve Zahn. Oh, okay. Yeah. All right.
You can tell with the voice when you like.
Now that you've said it, yeah.
So I'm really enjoying that. I did end up. I told you guys I was done buying movies. I lied.
I didn't believe you. I bought like 10 more over the weekend.
We didn't believe you.
I had to, like, right before my Prime membership went out, I saw that the Star Wars sequel trilogy was $45 for all 3 of the movies. So I really want to rewatch those, because I've seen The Force Awakens a few times, and I've watched the second one, I believe, The Last Jedi. I think I've watched it twice, but I've only seen The Last Skywalker, or whatever it's called. I've only seen that one.
Rise of the
Skywalker. I've only seen that once, and I saw it in the theater. So I definitely purchased those. I ended up getting Frozen 2 and Frozen. So I'm just buying a bunch of movies.
The Star Wars sequel movies in 4K are also considered some of the best looking movies on the market right now. Good. Those 4K renditions, and like if you watch them on Disney Plus, like I have, like you're gonna see the difference instantaneously with the amount of like color vibration, vibrancy and everything like that.
Yeah,
if you have the right screen to display it, I'm assuming.
Yes, yeah. I'm pretty sure he's got the same TV Jeff and I have.
Yeah.
I'm not using the same TV you guys have. I have it. I own it. It's in a box, being unused. I'm using my 8K TV, but it has Dolby Vision and Dolby.
Sweet.
And then I have my surround sound, which is Dolby Atmos. So those are the movies I've been watching. I'm going to keep watching movies. I've been enjoying just tearing up some movies. It really is fun watching all these movies on the 4K Blu-ray. It really does like pop out. It looks really good. As far as playing, I've been playing older stuff. We went over Remnant II, so I won't go over that. But just the main 2 games I've been playing is Ghost Recon Wildlands. I jumped into my Xbox Series X playthrough. I played the game at launch. I played a lot of it, but now I'm going to actually try to finish it. So I'm more than halfway through it. I wanted to play this because I'm itching for SOCOM. And if you go and you Google really good games that are like SOCOM, you'll get a lot of PC games, but a lot of them are PvP. That's not why I like SOCOM. I want PvE. Ghost Recon keeps popping up. I'm like, dude, you're dumb. Like, you own these games. Why have you not been playing them? So I've decided I'm going to beat Wildlands, or try to, and then I also downloaded on my PC Breakpoint, which with all the updates to Breakpoint is basically Wildlands now.
Yeah, I heard they fixed that game completely like a year after.
You can play it, you can play it the original way if you want, which has like the loot system and all that, or you can play it how Wildlands was designed.
I beat Wildlands. I think that game's fantastic. So.
Yeah,
I was razzing you a little bit earlier, but I think that game's awesome. So
I just completed a mission. I'll just share this real quick that I thought was just funny, because I like this type of stuff. Like, so I did like 6 missions to locate this boss, right? You don't know where he's at. So you do these missions, and the final mission I did is I finally got his code to actually like locate his private like aircraft area where he does all his drug trafficking. And then now I have the code to actually call him in. So I go to the area, I use the code, and I call him in, and the copter's coming in. And as the copter's coming in, I look around, and I'm like, oh, there's a truck with a machine gun on it. I just jump in the truck, grab the machine gun, and start gunning the copter. So before this guy even knows I'm there, before I even see him, I kill him, and the mission's just over. So I had like all this build up, and I just absolutely obliterate him in that way. And I love it because it reminds me of like that Deus Ex where it's just like, however you want to do this, dude, just do it. And so
it's a really good game at doing that whole sandbox. This is a sandbox game.
Yeah.
Like it's like perfect for that.
It's like GTA controls with like SOCOM style gameplay. It's
almost like Hitman 2, where it's like you kill them however you want. And
So
nice.
Absolutely loving that. The other one that I am playing that I plan on beating because I'm really far into it is Scarlett Nexus. Absolutely love that game. Gameplay is so amazing. Story is actually really, really good. Like I get that the way they deliver the story is pretty terrible, but the actual story is really, really
I'd say
good.
it's more like underwhelming because it looks so good in other times. Like the story delivery, right? With the kind of Frozen comic book style. It's not bad. It's more like underwhelming. Like I just
thought it was I thought it was like a smidge too long. Especially because you have the two-sided thing. You're then playing as the other character, and you're playing like sort of the same thing, right? But from the different angles. So
I get, and I agree with that. My complaint is I'm okay with the length because the length isn't terribly long. It's not like it's a 60-hour JRPG or something, but it's the reusing of assets. Like you're literally going to the same areas. There's nothing like interesting about any of those areas, and you're just doing the same thing over and over. So I think if they made a sequel, because apparently this one was actually pretty successful, and they did an anime. If they create a sequel and really take the feedback, because I know I'm not the only person that's complained about the areas being reused, being very boring and bland. If they'll take that criticism and actually address it and make it like cool like areas. You don't have to make it open world if you don't. You want to keep it like those type of levels, you absolutely can do that, but just make them more interesting and don't just reuse them over and over. And I would agree. I think they should deliver the story better. I didn't really care for it. Yeah, and there's so many characters, so the way they're doing it, it's very confusing. A lot of the characters, you don't get to know them really well because of the way it's done. So, but those are the games I've been playing. I do plan on beating both of those, so I'm not going to let Remnant 2 or any other game distract me. Those are going to be my mains, but the main thing I've been doing is watching movies. I've been really enjoying movies.
Yeah, I do like a good movie marathon in the summertime. That's pretty fun.
Before sports starts. Once sports start, I'm done. I'm done with the 4K crap. I'm going to throw my 4K player out the window.
All right, Dan, what you been watching and playing that you want to highlight?
So I finally saw John Wick 4. And I know we were mentioning earlier, like the car scene or, you know, the whole scene that takes place with all the, oh my God, that scene's ridiculous.
It really is.
Just like, I don't even know how they film stuff like that sometimes. I'm like, the coordination that they're having to do with a scene like that is insane. There's so much going on. Much going on. And it takes place, what is it? Where's that place in France? The Arc de Triomphe, or however you say it.
It's quite a backdrop for that.
So that, excellent movie. I know I said in the chat, I was like, I think I like 3 more, but I also haven't seen 3. Like I think I watched it last year, so obviously I don't remember it like vividly. I think I liked it because he does more like kind of globetrotting in 3, right? I think he kind of goes maybe some more places. No,
I wouldn't say more than 4.
No, okay.
You know,
I thought
he globe drops a lot in 4 too. So
a ton.
Sure. But yeah, no. I mean, it's by no means this like a terrible movie whatsoever.
No,
this
I mean you're
trilogy.
No, you said it was terrible.
Those are 4 of the greatest stunt work movies of all time. You know.
Yeah.
It all really comes down to what your favorite stunt moment was. You know, or collection of stunts.
I'm just laughing because of the idea of like if you don't love it. the same way I love it, then you hate it.
Then you
And
hate
I-
it.
and I hate you.
Hate it completely.
Shout
Your
out
order is
to
wrong.
Mr. Nobody and his dog. Like I love that character. That
Yeah.
character is super
Character's
cool.
so rad.
And that
you could
dog's
send
a
him off into
badass.
his own movie. I would
yeah.
totally watch that movie.
Yeah.
Hmm.
Well, they're doing that with what's her face? Which she hasn't appeared in any of the movies, right? But aren't they doing a spin-off for
Anna
Yeah,
her?
de Armas.
Ballerina with Anna de Armas.
Yeah, that beautiful creature.
Yeah,
Um,
Keanu's gonna be in that one. They announced
Oh,
that a while ago.
It sounds
Yeah,
like
yeah.
Dan needs to watch the Barbie movie to learn some things. But go ahead, Dan.
Yeah, stop objectifying women.
Oh yeah, yes.
You
thank
have homework this week,
Thank
Dan. Okay.
You have homework
I have
now.
never objectified a woman in my entire life.
Sure.
Check the
Alright.
tape. Check
Stop
the
it,
tape.
Dan.
Check the tape.
Someone mute Ghostland over there.
I'm gonna take all of the episodes, make a compilation of Derek saying
Yeah,
all of the things.
it's gonna take you a while.
No, but John Wick 4 is amazing. But for anybody for some reason who loves action movies and hasn't watched any of these movies, like what are you doing with your life? Like
I know,
watch
you're
all of these.
stupid. I
movies.
hate
Check 'em
you.
out.
Die.
They're fantastic. I finally finished Demonslayer season 3. Holy shit! What an emotional roller coaster. Goddamn.
Woo!
Did he
man.
slay some demons?
Yeah,
Yes,
and
yes.
he played some
It's
feelings. I'll tell you that.
Yeah,
too.
some feelings too. And the show is just so good at like, it's like, so there's like the big bad boy demons, right? That Tanjiro goes up against, and like I love like there's the moments like right before like it kind of is like either he definitely like kills them or like he maybe is about to, and it gives you like that quick like kind of like backstory of that person, right? Like when
Yeah.
they were a person, whatever, and like it kind of like actually makes you feel bad about for them for
Yeah,
like
in
a
their
second.
last moments, they show a glimpse of humanity always.
Yeah,
Because
exactly.
we all just want to live at the end of the day, you know.
Yeah, exactly. But yeah, it's just, and the animation is just so unbelievable in that show.
The best in the biz. Like anime movies usually don't get like
Yeah.
budgets to look this good. I just can't believe stuff like this and Attack on Titan. They get their budgets so big that they can actually spend it on the
I've
animation.
heard folks say that Chainsaw Man is also up there with visuals.
Chainsaw Man has amazing animation.
Yeah.
Yeah, I didn't watch that all the way through, but man, that's
yeah,
a looker for sure.
I need to watch that one too. But yeah, it's just there's just such a great element of this one where it's I think it's like kind of that typical, Kyle, you say it a lot, that shonen thing of like the main character just being very like they're pure of heart and like it's just they're doing this that and the other.
Unwaveringly good.
Yeah,
and simple.
But it's just I don't know, man. I eat that shit up. Like it feels good. It's like this hero is just gonna triumph and yeah, there's the stumblings and they go through some shit. It's not like he's never like getting beaten down or anything. Like Tanjiro definitely deals with some stuff.
Tanjiro takes so much damage. It's crazy.
Yeah, crazy. Absolutely.
Yeah, I'm glad you finished that. That's a good season. Yeah.
Yeah, it was fantastic. I really.
I know
enjoyed
we're reaching the end of the manga too, so like there's not going to be too much more.
apparently, which is awesome. Yeah, we don't have to.
I
wait.
love it. Yeah, please don't overstay your welcome. Yeah, absolutely.
Exactly. Rick and Morty season 4, or not season 4, right? Season 4? No, season 7.
I don't even know anymore. It's
I
been
typed
on since
season 4
for 10 years. It's crazy.
Season 7 is the newest one, right? Season. Or is it?
I haven't seen the newest
6.
one. That's...
Is it 6? I
Yeah,
wrote
6
4.
is the one from last year.
Okay, well then I'm an idiot. I wrote 4. 6. I watched that. It's still fun. It's still enjoyable.
funny,
It's
yeah.
funny. It's still funny.
I hate that. Like, I hate that there's like an air of maybe like I feel guilty by saying that. Like, if it's funny, it's funny. But like, so many
Agreed.
things ruin that show for so many people. That's
Sure.
hard to be
Is
like,
was it Royland?
yeah.
All the behind the scenes stuff with Royland and all that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Which just allegations at this point, right? And that's probably all it'll ever be. We won't really know.
Yeah,
Because
the
it's
case
dropped.
was thrown out.
Yeah, the case
So
was
it's
thrown
like,
out. Yeah.
all right.
So it's never going to have a satisfying, moral.
But I think they were
conclusion.
just looking
Agreed.
for a reason to let him go because apparently he just wasn't well liked. So
Yeah, apparently everybody hated him anyway. So
Yeah. They're just
whether or
like,
not
"Don't
he
do
did anything or
anything."
not, he seems kind of like a dick. So
Yeah. All right. Fair enough. Yeah.
and
I
apparently
think-
he wasn't as creatively involved in the last like 2 or 3
Okay.
seasons, like as far back as 2 or 3 seasons. So
Wow. Okay. Yeah. So I mean, if they can kind of continue with like an interesting, fun story, and if they can find voices that are pretty much on par that sound similar, then it's like works
I
out.
think they're
right?
going
So-
for sound alikes, whereas Solar Opposites cast somebody completely different with like a British accent, and it's actually like a joke in one of the trailers. It's like
Sure.
very fun.
that's funny.
I think it's Dan Stevens who's doing the voice.
Okay.
Oh, the Beast himself. Wow.
The Beast.
Beauty and the definitive Beauty and the Beast.
Yeah.
movie.
Definitive.
The one everyone loved so much. That one.
Yeah, and people can't stop talking about it. They love it so much.
I took while I was playing 16, I actually wasn't streaming at all because I just wanted to fully focus on Final Fantasy 16.
You lost all
And
your fans.
I came back last week and I was playing. I don't know if you guys have seen or heard at all of a game called Only Up. Does that sound?
Yeah, I have. Yeah. That
Okay.
platforming,
Yeah,
game.
it's like this weird platforming. It looks like rough around the edges, kind of feels a little rough around the edges sometimes. But yeah, it's a platforming game where you're playing this kid and you're climbing up these structures, but then there's also just like random objects that are just floating in the middle of space. So and basically the actual end is like you're basically up near space essentially. Like so you're literally climbing up like this for a very long time, unless you're trying to speed run it, which apparently the speed run like time is like, I don't know, like 33 minutes, which to me is completely bonkers.
With a cheat, it's 44 seconds with a cheat.
Yeah. I saw that where it just like they kind of.
Why does that even count? That's so annoying.
It doesn't. Yeah, but the game doesn't know you're cheating because it's an indie game, so it counts the
right.
score anyways. Yeah.
I gotcha. Yeah.
But yeah, really just describing it doesn't like it's just whatever. But like if you actually like sat there and just kind of watched it for a second, like some of the inanimate object, there's just books floating, like these small little books that you're trying to land on. That's like pretty far away, and you have to like maybe kind of like actually build up some speed and run. And you have a slow mo, freaking Matrix slow mo that to kind of make sure you're landing on something correctly. But there's also a little bit of the physics where you might overshoot the book.
Or bounce off of certain.
Yeah, or bounce off of things. Yeah. And sometimes there's actually even some trolley parts where there was this one part where I was really high up. I think I was about 3/4 the way up, that was like 3 hours into the stream. And this fucking T-Rex came out of nowhere. And I was like, oh shit, where am I going? And then I basically didn't realize that I should turn back around and go back off the edge. So it shoved me off, and I basically lost like over an hour of progress. And me falling literally was just like 30 seconds. So I fell for 30 seconds, but lost like an hour plus of progress. So it's kind of one
of those. It's a wacky game, and it's all the rage right now. Yeah.
Yeah. But I did finish it, so I felt pretty pumped.
Did you got to the top?
I did get to the top. I'm a pro gamer. So
pro gamer, yeah.
Pro gamer. But then the main actual thing is Chained Echoes. So I'm finally playing Chained Echoes. That game is phenomenal.
How far in are you?
Almost 15 hours. It like around 13, 14 hours.
Oh, okay. So you played quite a bit.
Yeah, it's really great. Visually, it looks great. I always just thought there was something about it, the look of it. When I remember seeing that first trailer when it was kickstarted, I was like, "There's just something about this." I really like the pixel art of this game. Yeah. But the combat system's really cool. It's got like a party swapping system, kind of like Final Fantasy X, but it's a little different where you're actually. So you can have 4 characters in the battle, but you attach one of the other characters in your party that's not in the main party to like each individual. So like right now I have my 4 main, and then there's 2 other off the screen characters attached to 2 of them. So I can swap
like supports.
them in. Yeah, support characters, exactly. So you can swap them in when it's their turn, and it doesn't cost a turn. So it's just basically you swap them in, and then they can kind of go and do what they need to do. And then there's an overdrive meter at the bottom. So it's basically a lot of it is in yellow and then green. So when you're in green, you're in overdrive mode, and you do extra damage, and abilities cost half the amount. But you can then get into the red, which means that you overheat and you actually take twice the damage.
Yeah, some moves will bring that down. Some moves move back up. So you just have to balance what moves you're doing. On each turn.
Every ability has like a little icon next to it. So there's a window that opens up once you're in overdrive. So you do the ability that matches the picture in the window, and it goes back towards the left. So it's kind of like this balancing act once you're in overdrive.
It kind of forces you to like mix up your strategies.
Yes.
Which I did like that from the demo. So.
Yeah, which takes into account swapping characters, because if the character no one has that ability, then you're needing to swap in somebody else. So. And the story seems really interesting. There's some political intrigue in there. It actually kind of reminds me of 16. It takes place on an island. There are kingdoms warring against each other. Little things like that. So I'm really enjoying it. I think it's really great. I don't really have anything terrible to say about it, other than like sometimes cut scenes kind of cut in a little abruptly. So that's just more of like an editing issue. Like as I'm like running in. And like it's not like a smooth fade in and out. It just kind of suddenly cuts into a scene.
Wasn't this made by like one guy?
I think it was one guy, but then he like outsourced.
But he hired musicians and stuff.
Yeah, exactly.
He did all the game developing.
Yeah. So
it's impressive.
Great job.
I bought it on the Switch, but I only played like 30 minutes of it.
I think it's still free on Game Pass too. So.
It is on Game Pass.
I'm sorry, excuse me. It's just on Game Pass, not free on Game Pass.
Yeah,
yeah.
I was gonna roll
I saw
you.
Derek's eyes turned red. You know, and
don't you dare say
don't
it's
you
free.
start.
Yeah, if you love retro, 16-bit Super Nintendo era RPGs, like please do yourself a favor and play this. It's very, very good. So
yeah,
I'm actually excited about the one that's coming out.
Sea of
I think it's
Stars?
coming out on
Stars.
Game
Sea of
Pass
Stars.
as well.
Yeah.
I think
I
that
got
one.
Eyes of Stars for that game. So
Yes.
Well done.
yes.
Good one. Good one. All right, let me just fly through these real quick. Wonderputt Forever. If you like little mobile games, like mini golf games, I would recommend that. Otherwise, don't bother. It's very mobile game style of like little crazy little mini golf courses. What is funny, the little animations as it goes from like a circus scene to outer space to underwater to in a city. Like it's creative. It's cool little animations, but it's very much a mobile phone style of game. Atone, the Heart of the Elder Tree. I only played a little bit of it. It's like a rhythm combat game, rhythm puzzles where you have to like match the beat, but the style of it kind of looks like the I think it was called Sword and Sorcery, where you got these tall, thin, like pixelated characters, super pixelated and old school. It's a very dark story, but it's also very rhythm oriented, and I just wasn't really feeling rhythm style of game, so I'm not going to play that much more, I don't think. Might and Magic Clash of Heroes, I've talked about that before, but Definitive Edition came out, and so I bought a copy on the Switch. My son really likes that game, and I do too. I've played it a few times. Super fun little RPG puzzler. I think that game's awesome. And also, I am like 2 hours into Bramble the Mountain King.
Bramble.
And that game is really good. If you like the Limbo and Inside, and even if you liked just dark fairy tales and you don't necessarily need combat, you're like, I'm okay with just kind of traversing this a little bit and escaping from danger. I thought that the dark fairy tale angle that it's taking on all this stuff is very much like Witcher 3 style, like the dark take on a fairy tale that you're like, that's not what I remember, but man, what a dark version of that. Like, holy crap. And so like this has that. There's several enemies you fight, several moments where there's a narrator telling you a story, and it's clearly piecing together a bunch of kind of like old school fairy tales. And they're very, very dark and very interesting. I think it's fantastic. And by the way, it's weirdly beautiful. Like it's not like zoomed in. It's not the most impressive looking thing. The character models they're fine.
The character models look
like
weird toys.
There's a scene when you first escape from. There's a number of times that massive trolls are looking for you, and there's one where you first escape, and there's kind of sun. You walk into this field, and there's deer eating, but they're a little out of focus because you're focused on this character, and there's birds on the ground that'll fly away as you get close. I was like, this is absolutely gorgeous. Like the style that they chose for this is really, really pretty. So
are you on PC for that one? Because that's where I played it, and I was like, look at these environments, dude. The background.
I've several times kind of leaned back, like, holy smokes.
And the score is so good. Oh my god, dude.
This is like it's definitely you're just moving from point A to point B across an environment. Don't go too slow or you might die depending on the scenario. Doesn't really take a lot of skill. It's not a game where you're going to upgrade anything. At the most, you can find these little wooden figurines, but you're not going to explore. You're just trying to go through the outlined path for you. So that's all that it is, really.
Don't get too attached to cute things. Don't get
attached to any cute thing.
Yeah, because there's this moment where you're like helping these really cute gnomes.
They're like babies.
And then something happens, and I'm like, "How dare you, game?" Like I was just like, "Oh, what the shit?"
That's not
so
nice.
Don't play in front of my wife.
Yeah, it's really messed
dark.
up.
It's dark.
Very truthful to
you also get a little bit of like Brothers vibes, where there's kids involved, and it's a dark world, and there's danger and violence all around them. So anyway.
Nice. I have that downloaded, ready to play.
I like it a lot. It's a nice change of pace because I am playing a ton of Final Fantasy 16 as well. I'm on the 61st out of 68 missions, according to the Attack of the Fanboy, I think, website that I was using as my kind of guide to gauge how far
I might finish it this week.
Yeah, I might. Depends on how much gaming time I get on the main screen. With summertime, kids are home all the time, and so there's just not a lot of time for me to. And they're also up later than usual, so like their bedtime is later. So usually the family's using the big screen, and it's only on PS5 because, thanks Uncle Jimmy, thanks for that.
Yeah, sure. I wanted to play it on PC, bro.
That's why I've got
That's why I've got other games on the side, like Dave the Diver gets more time than it normally would because it's on PC. I put it on the Steam Deck or on my computer in my office. And then same with Dredge. I've been playing a lot of Dredge that I bought on sale. And
Nice.
that game is so cool, man. But it's same as Dave the Diver, where there's just this great loop. Yes, it involves fishing. There's multiple indie fishing style games that have captured my
Kind of
attention.
strange.
There's a whole market for it now.
I
I've been
guess
playing
so.
those too, yeah, but very strange.
It's so good, man. I've upgraded a ton. I think I've explored all but one of the. There's only like 5 areas. There's a little starter area, and then there's these like 3. No, there's 4 all around. Almost like a 5, like a number 5 on a dice. That's how it's laid out on the map. So I've explored 3 of those, and I've got 1 left. And it's just little missions. It's nothing crazy, but just going around and catching the fish. It's little timing-based games. You just push the button at the right time for the most part to catch your fish or to dredge for items. And then you go upgrade stuff. It's all very easy. It's not difficult. It's more just like I put on a podcast or some music and just kind of play. And I like it. I like the game a lot. It's very relaxing for me. I think it's super fun. So it does get spooky at night too. They do a good job with the day-night cycle.
Oh,
Yeah.
sweet.
I start sweating, yeah, because like you can't see very far in front of you.
Can't
Like,
see
so
very
it's like,
far.
I gotta get back to land to turn in
Yep.
my bounty, you know.
Yeah, I've got most of the ship fully upgraded, and it's still super dark at night, even with the brightest lights available to you in the game. I'm still
So
can't
it's-
see
it's
super well.
Truthful to how it is at genuinely when you're
Yeah,
out at
yeah,
sea at
that's
night.
why they're
Yeah.
like, don't.
You
go
really
out
need
there.
to, and like paying attention to the lighthouses, like that's how the only way you can get back
Yes,
pitch black.
yeah.
You're like, oh, I have to use this lighthouse.
I
now.
saw TikToks,
It's always a
and I don't know why they keep showing up on my For You page because I'm like, I don't want to. It's terrifying. Where people are like out in the ocean somewhere as part of their job or whatever, they're deployed for something, and it's like dark, like it's nighttime, it's pitch black, and they were just like, somebody in the comments was like, shine a flashlight, I want to see what it looks like, and you can. It's even still, you only see the water that's like
The
2
light
feet
just
in front of you.
disappears.
The
Yeah.
light just disappears. Yeah, you see nothing. It's terrifying. It's
Yeah.
pitch black.
No, big no. Big no.
Yeah, big pass.
Agreed. So yeah, Dredge is a lot of fun. It's yet another one that's going to be on my short list of favorite indie smaller games this year. That
It's
I
gonna be a
won't.
really good list this year.
It's a
just
great
like,
list of those
yeah,
games. It's a great
yeah.
list of like hey, I'm not trying to push for this on our Game of the Year list. Games this year are out of control. But
Yeah,
I've got-
Oxenfree II.
But because there's so many good ones, like we're gonna actually be fighting on that. Not fighting,
Yeah,
but like it'll actually
right.
be a conversation. You know, actually be
Like
a
the-
discussion.
whatever we're gonna call it, like the doesn't stand a chance in the real Game of the Year discussion list. Like whatever that list is called.
Sure.
List, small games list or
It's
I don't know,
small
something like
games,
that.
right? Yeah, because we've said indie before, and then it comes back like, well, they're not really. It's published
Yeah.
by a bigger team. Well, whatever. So anyway, and also just did a lot of outdoorsy stuff this week. My mother-in-law was in town, so we've been doing a lot of outdoorsy stuff. Went camping with some buddies last week, so
That's awesome.
doing a lot of that, which is great. But that means I fall behind on the important things like gaming. So
Yes,
So important.
yes,
The
absolutely.
most important thing someone would do.
yeah. So anyway, all right. Well, that does it for us for this week. Next week, I've got a couple games in mind, like quiz games, like podcast games, because the next couple weeks are not totally quiet. Don't get me wrong. Don't be insulted if something you're excited about is coming out in the next week or two. Relax. But there's not a ton of huge heavy hitters until
Disney
we get
Illusion Island, how dare you?
into September when it's like, oh, now there's something that we're all gonna play, and then here's something else we're all
Double
gonna play.
Dragon Gaiden's not big anymore for you guys. Okay. All right.
All right, haters.
Maybe if it was Triple Dragon.
This
then
is what I
true.
meant by please don't be insulted. You guys got it. You guys totally understood it, and you
You
followed
understood the
it.
assignment.
Well,
Yeah.
I registered and I talked
Yeah,
anyways.
you
yeah.
got it.
Incredibly triggered. Incredibly triggered.
So thank you guys for checking in this week. We'll see you next time. Peace.